So guys, what is the very first thing you guys do when you go to a campsite? I got to thinking when we were doing Rangers. So like the first thing you do to a campsite when you get to it. Just throwing it out there. What is the very first thing you do? For me, it's open up a beer.
It is literally crack a beer. Although, to be fair, I will crack a beer the moment that I'm on campsite grounds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The other option is to get my friend's truck unstuck.
Yeah. No, the very first, besides beer, the very first thing I do, I start looking at the trees. Where the tarp's going to go, because that determines the entire layout.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would have said prime tent spot.
Oh, yeah, you're going to go grab the primo spot first?
Yeah.
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 Everybody's cracking beers and you're pulling stuff out of the bag? Yeah.
It's a Mimic, the round table Dungeons & Dragons discussion, where you never know what you're going to get.
Welcome to another episode in our conversation on classes. I'm Adam, and with me today are Kyle and D to the A to the N to the Yell!
Why would you yell?
Because it says Yell right at the end of your name. Anyway, I'm disappointed you guys didn't yell with me. Anyway, this episode is called The Game Changer for Ranger Danger. We've previously covered the Beastmaster, Hunter, and Revised Ranger from Unearthed Arcana in our first Ranger episode, which started off with a breakdown of the regular class features and level progression. In our second Ranger episode, we went over the Gloomstalker, Horizon Walker, and Monster... I want to say Slocker because it all rhymes, but it's Slayer.
Yep.
As well as the sections to Xanathar's Guide of Everything, which encourage players to think about a ranger's view of the world, homeland, and sworn enemy. You can find these episodes as well as our other class episodes on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and dozens of other podcast apps, or you can jump over to YouTube and dig into the entire playlist on classes that we've built there. This episode of the It's a Mimic podcast is going to return to Rangers, but we've got to break up the mold for our class-based episodes a little bit and focus on the updates from Tasha's Cauldron of Everything. There are a lot of new updates and variants for the Ranger, and the Beastmaster gets some new companions too. So string your bow, whistle to your wolf, and don your furs because it's time to revisit Rangers once again. But before we start, guys, I got a question. Kyle and Dan, what experiences do you guys have playing or DMing Rangers in 5th edition?
I have DM'd with one. I've DM'd two, and I have...
I was one of them,
You were one of them, yeah. And you were a Gloomstalker?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And you have forever tainted some of the spells that Rangers get because of that. Brought up some painful memories going through the breakdowns for today.
Taint.
When I first joined your campaign, there was a Horizon Walker in the group who was incredibly effective. But I have never...
That was tier 3, though.
Yeah, that was tier 3. I've never played a Ranger in 5e, but they were one of my favorite classes in 3.5 and Pathfinder and all that. So
They used to be really good up until 5th edition. We'll talk about that in a second. Kyle, have you played alongside any? Or
No, not yet. I wanted to play Gloomstalker back when it was still Unearthed Arcana, but Dave shot me down. So
this is too powerful. I don't like it. And then they release it and it's worse.
The UA, yeah, but it should be a little bit worse.
Worse in the other direction. It was more... Gloomstalker is one of those ones that as the UA is worse than the released version. Like,
it got more powerful?
Yeah.
I do not pay any attention to UA except the Revised Ranger because the Ranger in the 5th edition sucks compared to the other classes. Now, remember, I mean, this is not going to be news to anybody that listens to a D&D podcast, but there are really 3 different ways that you can get your bits and pieces about building a character. 1 is your class, 2 is your background, and 3 is your subclass. The subclasses are relatively weak for Ranger. There's really, 2 or 3 obvious go-to backgrounds, like the Soldier, the Outlander, and the Hermit, right? Those ones tend to be the Ranger ones, and they all kind of overlap and double up with just Ranger shit you get anyway. Mm-hmm. And then the class itself was weak, and we're going to talk about that really in depth today. And then Tasha's came out because Wizards was actually listening. They were paying attention to all of the complaints in the online community and whatnot. And they know that everybody just immediately started disregarding Ranger. Like you said, Dan, it was so popular in previous editions.
Oh, yeah. It was up there with your clerics and your rogues.
Yeah.
With the most favored class.
Yeah, and it could be depending on your progression and your prestige classes and whatnot. You could become as powerful as some artificers and mystic thurges, and like there was some really powerful nonsense.
Yep.
And the ranger kept pace with a lot of it. And then 5th ed came, and it's like they pulled it back, but they pulled it back too far.
Well, honestly, they built a class to take care of exploration, and then the system of 5e, when it was initially released, was not that great at supporting exploration.
Well, they realized nobody wanted to play it. Nobody wanted to play exploration anymore. Exploration was the first third of every campaign in original D&D, to the point where you would pull out, I'm trying to remember, Chainmail. The game Chainmail, where this was your battle and your war and your exploration tactics. They didn't even include them in the D&D books. They just said, hey, play Chainmail, and when you're done, start D&D with the characters, right? Because it did everything you needed it to do. It got you from the tavern or your quest giver, which was usually tavern or wizard, right, to the mouth of the dungeon. And that was it. All that overland travel, all that other shit got you there, and you were done. That's it. And then nobody wanted to play with it at all. We've just moved further and further away from it in 3.5, and then the gamified level of, like, the video gamified level of mechanics and shit in 4th edition made it so that it was combat oriented. And now, thanks to Critical Role and the Adventure Zone and other D&D shows, we're getting a lot of role playing, but nobody's interested in looking under the rock or going camping anymore, right?
Yeah.
Like, so, but I mean, that was back in like the 70s and stuff, where your idea for a weekend away was going out into the woods with your friends. People don't do that anymore, right?
No, they hop on a plane to Mexico or something.
Yeah, or they hop online.
That was an unintentional dig. I'm sorry. As it was escaping, Kyle just got back from Mexico, y'all. So
I
like,
go camping.
All right, Kyle. Sure.
And
you
by
do,
camping,
bud.
I mean just drinking in the woods.
Yes, that is what it is.
yeah, passing out, waking up at dawn, and starting again, right?
So they clearly built the role-playing classes. For example, the Bard and a Warlock is very clearly a class that's meant to be heavily role-played, where there are some that don't really lean as far into that. Like, I could make arguments that Fighter is a little bit too vanilla.
Yep.
Or even Wizards are, hey, I know magic, I'm all about my magic spells and my versatility and my mechanics, and not so much about the flavor of the class.
Yeah, I find when you play a wizard, you have a character who's so dependent on their book, so their nose gets stuck in it a lot.
Yeah.
So they don't interact with people.
But when it comes to exploration, we got really two. We got, well, three, I could argue. You got the Ranger, which does it all and does it better than anybody else. The Rogue, which does it in a very unique, stealthy way. And the Monk, that just moves a whole lot faster. And these are your exploration guys. And that's it. Not even the Druid really explores. They command the battlefield. They commune with nature thematically, but they don't lean into the exploration pillar.
Yeah.
So when you look at the Monk and the Rogue, they don't really lean into it mechanically either. They have movement speed and flavor, but no real mechanics to support it. So there's just the Ranger, and that's why the Ranger fell so far behind.
Since then, we've had the Artificer come in and...
Or as Terry says, the Artificer.
Or the Artificer. And its focus on tools has really opened up the door to exploration a little bit more. Just not like overland exploration, much more like problem solving and that kind of exploration.
Yeah, and look, there are little bits and pieces. We have the Scout, obviously, which for some fucking reason is a rogue subclass and not a Ranger. It just baffles me. But like, there are some out there that exist that makes you go, oh, hey, you know what? This is tied to Lansima. Most of the Druid shit should be exploratory to some degree. Hell, if you can suddenly turn into a bird and fly around, maybe you should get some boons for that. You know what? Fuck it. Moving on. So let's sit down and look at what the Ranger used to be and then what it is now. And we're going to focus on the Beastmaster Companion at the end of the episode. But before we go really any further, we kind of need to know what they've got in their tool bag. One of the things that we've never discussed before was their spell list.
Yeah.
Dan, do you want to take us away on this one?
Well, Rangers for spell list, like every single time I see a Ranger, they're a martial class. And very regularly people tend to ignore or forget the fact that they have spells at all. right? But they are, in fact, a 5th level spell casting class, or as we call it, a 3/4 caster.
No, that's a half caster.
Or a half caster, yeah. So, like, they do have a lot of spells, but the thing about Rangers, outside of, like, the Paladin, which is the equivalent on the other end of the spectrum, is there's not a lot of uses they have within their class mechanics to use their spell slots, so they'll actually use their spells. And they have a lot of unique spells to their class because of this, okay? So, Player's Handbook gave us a bunch. Xanathar's gave us a little bit more. Tasha's gave us a little bit more.
Yeah, there was a smattering here and there, but they've been collected in these books.
Yeah. So rather than break them down by level entirely, we're going to break them down by origin.
Yeah, by book. Because, I mean, you may not have one of the books.
Exactly.
Right?
So, like you said, they're 1st level casters. They don't get cantrips. So they start right away with 1st level spells, and I'm just going to knock this one off because this is the one every every ranger is going to take. It is the Hunter's Mark. It's kind of the spell all other ranger spells are hinged on, right? So the Hunter's Mark is a bonus action cast, only requires a verbal component, and has a range of 90 feet to hit whatever you're hitting. It is a concentration for 1 hour as a base level spell, as a 1st level spell. And basically what it does is a creature you can see within that 90-foot range is marked by you magically. And this, by the way, is a divination spell, which is important. When you deal damage to the target with any weapon attack at all, you deal more damage. It's 1d6 more, okay? You are also really good at finding the target with advantage on perception and survival rolls regarding them. And if the target takes more ouchies than their hit point pool will allow, before the end of the spell, you could use your bonus action on your next turn to move that mark to another target. Now, as a 3rd or 4th level spell, the duration of the concentration goes from 1 hour to 8 hours, which means you could have a target for up to 8 hours. As a 5th level spell slot, however, this goes to a solid 24-hour stretch that you could concentrate on the spell.
So this allows you to hunt people through cities, and if they get a head start on you, you can catch up.
Yeah, you can kind of pinpoint your way through them, toward them. You have advantage on all your checks to hunt them down. That's what this is good for, okay?
Honestly, this is the single best spell that the Ranger gets. But look, there are more powerful ones, there are more interesting ones, but this is your utility spell that is dropped every combat of every game.
I mean, an argument can be made for Zephyr Strike, but...
Yeah, but you can also stack them.
Yep, that's true too. Right, and this moves from target to target to target. So
right, and so we'll get into Zephyr Strike in a little bit here, but everything else that we're looking at is really going to stack up against Hunter's Mark.
Yeah.
Anytime that you would use a bonus action for a feature, anytime you would use a spell slot, think about, would Hunter's Mark be better or worse than this? Because this seems to be the gold standard when it comes to Ranger spells.
Okay, so let's break them down. At 1st level, starting off alphabetically, you get Alarm, which allows you to know whenever a tiny or larger creature, excluding creatures of your choice, cross a threshold that you determine. It'll ping you up to a mile away if you prefer a mental alarm, but if you prefer an audible alarm, it's 10 seconds of cowbell, audible for up to 60 feet. Okay. Animal Friendship is Charm Person, but for animals and with a 24-hour long duration. Multiple beasts can be affected with this with higher spell slots. Okay. Cure Wounds, Burr goes the heals, but only if you touch them.
Okay. Burr goes the heals, but only if you touch them?
Yes. So you heal for 1d8 plus your spellcasting modifier. It is the most widely used cure spell there is, right?
Yeah.
And heal spell there is. It's one of the more basic spells in D&D.
I was just judging you for how you worded it.
You're welcome. Yeah. Detect Magic is clearly just detects magical auras. Okay. Detect Poison and Disease is detect poison, venom, or overly promiscuous bards within 30 feet of you. Okay. That's disease, by the way.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. Ensnaring Strike gives you a bonus action cast that allows your next weapon attack, by the way, next weapon, any weapon attack, and the target gets ensnared with magical vines. These vines have thorns and will do damage to the affected target every round until they bust out. Okay? So you hit them with a sword, they get wrapped up. Fog Cloud, you get to show your party members how annoyed Commissioner Gordon is at Batman on a nightly basis.
Oh, just because
just
smoke bomb.
Yeah. Good Berry. Put the up to 10 berries in your mouth and you'll heal 1 hit point each.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Is one of those Barry White or Barry Manilow?
Or oddly enough, Bill Hader.
That's not a Barry, Dan.
It is a Barry. Anyways, he plays Barry. It's the character. Next, you get Hail of Thorns, which is a bonus action, which a ranged weapon hit grants a small radius of additional arrows of damage. Next, you get Hunter's Mark. We already described that. After that, you get Jump, which a creature you touch gets 3 times as springy for a minute, like I did with my old Air Jordans before they ran out of air.
The pump up ones.
Yeah, the pump up ones. Yeah. Long Strider, which is a creature or more at higher levels you touch, gets triple shot caramel macchiato pumped directly into their veins and goes 10 feet faster for an hour.
Caramel macchiato? You couldn't go with like an espresso?
I went triple shot caramel macchiato for the caffeine and the sugar.
All right, Dan.
Okay.
Okay, fuck.
I mean, you crash after an hour.
God, I hope so.
I am regretting. I'm doing this to make you regret asking me to break down spells.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck.
How many did it take? 4?
I'm not done yet. Anyways, you also get at first level Speak with Animals, which is where you get to speak to beavers, but not the way your girlfriend has asked you to. At second level, you get...
Now we roll initiative to talk about...
So that's what we get for first level.
Okay, so you went through that list really fucking quickly here, so just to remind everybody, because the fucking word vomit that just came out of your face. Alarm, Animal Friendship, Cure Wounds, Detect Magic, Detect Poison and Disease, Ensnaring Strike, Fog Cloud, Goodberry, Hail of Thorns, Hunter's Mark, Jump, Long Strider, and Speak with Animals.
Yeah.
What is, in your opinion, let's roll initiative, which one is the unsung hero? So not Hunter's Mark.
Okay. I got a 15.
Oh, that's a 20.
I got a 12. Okay.
You know what? I might have to go with Ensnaring Strike.
Yeah.
I just I like the feel of it.
You like the thorny tentacles?
Yeah. Right? Like it traps them, so they're restrained, and it's dealing damage.
And
every
it deals
turn.
damage to them, yeah. And if they fail their strength check over and over and over again, it could last up to a minute.
Yeah.
Right? For me, it's Long Strider. The lack of concentration required on it for an hour of 40-foot movement, yeah. It is one of the most useful utility spells in the game, in my opinion. If I get the opportunity to use it, I'm using it.
I gotta say Goodberry. Goodberry is an automatic get back up. You're no longer doing death saves, and you can cast it way before combat and hand them out to everybody.
Yeah, and they last a full day before they just wither to nothing.
Yeah, so this is a really good utility spell, and also you can hand out a little bit of healing to an NPC and become a little god in their eyes for relatively little, for 1/10 of a spell slot. Goodberry for me. All right.
Okay, I have a question about using Goodberry on an unconscious player.
Yep.
Though, right? Because, I mean, you have to get them to swallow it.
Can you use a...
Do you have to baby bird them? Like, do you have to chew it up and then spit it in their mouth and then...
Oh, will a potion of healing work on an unconscious person?
Yeah, but I mean, that's a liquid. It'll just go down.
I just squeeze the juices in.
Yeah.
That's how I would do it.
Yeah.
It's also magic, so you can put it in their mouth and slam their jaw closed with a slap underneath the chin. With
The fuck was
you
that?
my glasses.
I'm going to make my players baby bird them. I don't care.
They need to be chewed up for...
I'm just picturing Ace Ventura. I forget which one it is where he's doing that to the baby birds. I think it's the second one. He's climbing the cliff.
Yeah.
That's not the worst part of that movie I could be referencing. All right, Dan, take us to second level spells from the PHP.
Second level spells, you get Animal Messenger, Bark Skin, Beast Sense, Cordon of Arrows, Dark Vision, Find Traps, Lesser Restoration, Locate Animals or Plants, Locate Object, Pass Without Trace, Protection from Poison, Silence, and Spike Growth. Now, to break those all down with Animal Messenger, you have an animal deliver a message of up to 25 words in your voice to someone one day, which is up to 25 to 50 miles, depending on the animal, away. More days for higher spell slots. Okay?
So hold on, a cat could just run up to you and be like, in my voice, fuck you, Dan.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. That's the
I
thing,
would
right?
be setting mosquitoes.
And it is like an audible recording of your voice. It's not like a little note that you tie to the animal. It like records that and it just goes. And eventually it'll get to them.
You would hear me say, I just lost the game.
Yeah. Next, you get Bark Skin, which gives you thicker skin to deal with shitheads like Adam. But you get to grant 1 hour of bark-like skin to anybody, including yourself if you wanted to, making their AC a minimum of 16 regardless of the type of armor they wear.
I really feel like the DMs need to lean into that a little bit more so that your skin gets rough textured and gross and cracked.
Yeah, and the old Neverwinter Nights 2 game, when you cast bark skin, your entire character just became this brown bark covered like monstrosity. Armor, details, everything was that same bark color.
Oh, did armor too?
Yeah.
See, I would like the idea of the skin as well. So it's like, man, that's gonna chafe under your armor and shit. Like it's not gonna be good. You're gonna be splintering every time you run.
Ugh, yikes. So with Beast Sense, you get to basically warg through a willing animal's senses for up to 1 hour. You can't control where they go, but you can see and smell what they see and smell.
Okay.
Next, you get Cordon of Arrows, which is like Alarm, but far more ouchy for the trespasser. You basically plant some arrows around you, and if someone you don't designate gets within 30 feet of that arrow, they get arrowed by the arrow. Okay? Dark Vision is for your human, halfling, or dragonborn, for fucking reasons, rangers. They get to see 60 foot in the dark for 8 hours with no concentration. It's Dark Vision, like the ability. Okay?
You okay?
Next, you get Find Traps, which is a 120-foot alert for something the bard will stumble into anyways. This includes magical traps or wards. You also don't know where the trap is specifically, only that one exists within range.
Within 120 feet.
Yeah.
This is not going to be helpful because, what is that, 12 stories?
Yeah.
When you are in the middle of the Tomb of Horrors, hold on, I will cast Find Traps.
There are limitations based off thickness of walls and stuff around you.
All right.
But this isn't like a thing you keep up. It is an instantaneous spell.
Oh, you just ping out sonar. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and it you just get a little blip saying yes.
Relatively useless in my fucking opinion.
Yeah, no, it's fucking garbage. Anyways, let's go with a useful spell then. Lesser Restoration, which lets you touch a creature to cure up to one disease or the blinded, deafened, paralyzed, or poisoned conditions. Okay? Locate animals or plants lets you sense a specific type of animal or plant within 5 miles. You then know the distance and direction to that thing.
Okay, so type of animal, just for example, it's like wolf, it's not like mammal.
Well, it would be like a dog.
Okay, so, all right. I was just wondering how specific you have to.
Up to DM discretion, really, right?
If you go mammal, though, I mean, how does it know which one you're looking for?
Exactly.
It's like-
You have to be more specific.
That's what I was asking you. Could you say dog or Shar-Pei, right?
Yeah. And you don't have to be necessarily familiar with the animal, unlike the spell Locate Object, which you basically functions like Locate Animal, except you need to be familiar with the object, and it's only within 1,000 feet of you, rather than the 5 miles that Locate plants or animals is.
All right, so this is going to be more useful for dungeons.
Yes. This can also sense a type of item as well, if you're not too picky. So say you're just like, shit, our thieves' tools broke. We just need thieves' tools.
When you are escaping prison, where's the armory?
Yeah, right?
Okay.
That's what this is going to be used for. Pass Without a Trace, which is for an hour. Each creature you choose within 30 feet of you gets a +10 to stealth and cannot be tracked, other than by magical means.
Sure.
Okay? You get Protection from Poison, which allows you to neutralize and grant advantage versus poisons, as well as resistant to poison damage for 1 hour, no concentration.
That's useful?
Yep. Yeah, unless you have a paladin in the party.
Yeah, it's a no concentration that makes it for me, though.
Yeah. Next, you get Silence, which is a 20-foot radius sphere of silence on a point you choose within 120 feet of you. It nullifies thunder damage, and creatures within the sphere take the deafened condition. But most importantly, verbal components to a spell don't work.
Yeah,
Okay?
handy.
Yeah. Finally, for second level, you get Spike Growth, which is a 20-foot radius sphere of painfully rough ground on a point up to 150 feet away from you. It's 10 minutes of concentration. However, it is important to note that this effect is camouflaged and requires a perception check versus your spell save to be able to see.
Okay.
So that's all the second level spells from the player's handbook.
All right, so same order. Kyle, you first. Which one of these do you stand out for you as being the best? The one that piques your interest the most?
My short-term memory isn't that good, and
All right, okay, let's go through it again. Animal Messenger, Bark Skin, Beast Sense, Cordon of Arrows, Dark Vision, Find Traps, Lesser Restoration, Locate Animals or Plants, Locate Object, Pass Without Trace, Protection from Poison, Silence, and Spike Growth.
I mean, silence is just... I think I would have to go silence. I think it has the most utility.
The silent spell got me a Strahd's cape, actually. Because when we were playing in Curse of Strahd, I cast silence upon the brooch that kept his... the point that I chose was on the surface of the brooch that kept his cape clasped. And so he could no longer cast spells and suddenly panicked and ripped the cape off and fled. And so I got Strahd's cape. I walked around for about a session and a half with it. And then that was a bad idea. The villagers did not like me. So, Dan, which one for you?
Spike growth.
Yeah.
It especially that little hidden note where it is hidden, it's camouflaged, and just to see it, people have to roll a perception check or they will miss it. Your spell save DC is going to be higher than most people's passive perception. So unless people are looking for it, they will not see it and will walk into this thing. Spike growth is battlefield control.
Yeah. There's a lot of battlefield control going on
there
here.
is.
For me, it's got to be Pass Without Trace. This was used so effectively against all of my NPCs that were hunting or following my party.
Yeah.
The number of times that I have had party members or the party try to get away from whatever it is or have to hide on the side of the road to let the enemy army go past or just to sneak past the guards, right? Pass Without Trace is great because plus 10 to stealth negates the paladin's bullshit.
Yep.
When you get disadvantage with heavy armor on stealth checks, disadvantage is, remember, for our purposes on the podcast, they're getting too mathy about it, it acts as a -4. On average, you can assume it'll be -4 with disadvantage. That plus 10 overshadows that shit by
sight, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so for third level, we have Conjure Animals, Conjure Barrage, Daylight, Lightning Arrow, Non-Detection, Plant Growth, Protection from Energy, Speak with Plants, Water Breathing, Water Walk, and Wind Wall.
Okay.
Okay? Let's go through them. Conjure Animals, which allows you to call the equivalent of 2 CR worth of beasts to help you for an hour and command them with no action. You could just verbally yell at them, and it's not even a reaction. You could just do it.
Quick question. How many CR0 creatures can you get with that?
So the breakdown says 1 CR2, 2 CR1s, and
Yeah.
it goes all the way down to 8 CR quarters.
Okay.
So 8 CR. Yeah, 8 CR quarters.
So yeah, it'd be 16 eighths, but it doesn't give us that on the list.
Yeah, it doesn't give us that on the list. And I would just go,
Just 8 maximum, don't make it fucky.
yeah. Right?
okay.
Because the second you're asking me to pull 16 or 32 miniatures out of a board, I'm throwing them at you.
Sure. Yeah.
Especially if I have to move them all individually and they all get their own actions.
Yeah, right. And I could command them all. Like, you're not a swarm lord in this sense.
Yeah. Everybody else at the table gets up for a smoke break, right?
Yeah.
Like they're just done.
Yeah. So, no, stop it at 8. One interesting thing to note about Conjure Animals is that you get twice as many that can be summoned if you use a 5th level slot, which you get around 17th level.
Okay.
Okay. Next is Conjure Barrage, which is where you take 1 arrow and make many arrows out of it in a 60-foot cone as an action.
Cool. I like that.
Yeah.
Next is Daylight, which is a 60-foot sphere of light that harms vampires and gets rid of magical darkness. Okay. Lightning Arrow, which I could hear Brad's erection from here, is the next range attack becomes a lightning bolt that does 48 damage on a hit, half on a miss with no save. Okay. Also, creatures within 10 feet of the bolt get a save for a possible 2d8 more lightning damage.
Pretty good.
Next is Non-Detection, which is a spell that allow you to hide from those pesky divination spells for up to 8 hours. Next is Plant Growth, which get that bone meal ready and grow that mega spruce because you've only got birch. And who actually likes birch? That's a Minecraft reference, everybody. And to be honest, I like birch. Anyways, we're moving on. If an action is used,
Son of a birch.
if an action is used to cast this spell, vegetation within a 100-foot radius of a point within 100 feet of you now costs double dangerous terrain, basically. Every foot is 4 feet of movement, rather than the normal 2 with dangerous terrain. Okay? Now, if you cast this over 8 hours of time, however, plants grown within a half-mile radius grow twice as well for a year. It specifically says that even like fields of like grain and stuff will have a will have double the yield for a year if you cast this as an 8 hours casting time spell.
It like as a ritual?
It just says you could cast it as an action or as 8 hours.
All right.
So, yeah. Next is Protection from Energy, which is a 1 hour concentration spell to be resistant to one type of elemental damage. Okay. After that is Speak with Plants, which is when you get to speak with wood, but not the way your boyfriend has asked you to. Now, you can also get limited control over plant life.
What does it sound like when you speak with wood, Dan?
I don't know. You also get limited control over plant life.
Dan's nose just grew.
Getting bushes to move into the way for the duration of the spell or other stuff, depending on your DM. This works on the Entangle spell and plant creatures as well. Like, you could talk to the Entangle spell.
Sorry, and you said and plant creatures?
And plant creatures.
Oh, I thought you were telling me to plant creatures.
No, you could speak to plant creatures.
Yeah. Not the verb, the adjective.
Yes, yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Next is Water Breathing, where up to 10 creatures can do their best Kevin Costner for 24 hours.
For 24 hours?
For 24 hours.
They'll build it and then you'll come?
No.
Wrong movie.
Wrong movie. They'll grow gills and be able to swim underwater. And run away from Dennis Hopper. Swim away from Dennis Hopper?
That movie gave me nightmares when I was a kid.
Did it really?
Yeah,
It was the guy in the oil tank down beneath the main... Like, that guy was creepy and weird.
I haven't seen it in probably 20 years. We're talking about Waterworld, y'all.
Yeah, no, it's still like that's not even top tier Kevin. Why would you go there, man? That's below the Postman.
Is it?
Yes, Postman at least had Tom Petty in it for no reason.
Next is Water Walk, where up to 10 creatures do their best Jesus for up to 1 hour. Includes walking over quicksand, lava, or snow, which is part of the Bible I must have missed.
Okay, all right.
Next is Wind Wall, which will basically nullify your combat effectiveness for up to 1 minute. No, it basically, you could create a wall of intense wind to keep out fog, smoke, small birds, or wizards with bad constitutions.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay?
I have to clarify something because I think you got a thing wrong.
Oh, what?
Daylight. Daylight specifically says a 60-foot radius sphere of light spreads out from you. It does not say sunlight.
They have errated that since. It is actually sunlight.
Okay. Was this just Jeremy Crawford's Twitter account? Because Sage
No,
Advice doesn't
this was literal errata. I believe it's
because I ended up in a 25-minute screaming match with Terry during the Curse of Strahd campaign about specifically this spell, and then we ended up looking up Sunbeam and Sunburst, and I think Sunburst is the only one that specifically says the word daylight in it, which is what you need, but the other one does radiant damage, and this is neither, so it was ruled against me. So if this has been errated, I'm mad about it because I lost that argument, and that was the one argument in my life that I lost.
That's not true. This is all the third level spells, by the way. We're done.
Okay. Kyle, which one stands out to you?
I mean, I like Lightning Arrow and Conjure Barrage for the damage possibilities, but I think I would have to go with Plant Growth because I really like it for its RP potential.
Yeah.
Especially being able to cast it over 8 hours.
Yeah. For me, this is not just because I hear Brad's erection, but Lightning Arrow is a fantastic spell. The fact that your next range attack becomes a lightning bolt that is not even a save or half. It's a full damage if you hit or half if you don't. Mm-hmm. Right? Like that person is taking minimum 2d8 lightning damage regardless of you hit that spell or not. So I really, really like that. I also like the fact that everything around Lightning Arrow is more powerful than Lightning Bolt in some ways. So that's me, Lightning Arrow.
Can I climb rain with Water Walk?
No.
Can I climb a waterfall?
Yes.
Water Walk then.
Difficult terrain at least.
I would make it difficult terrain, but I'd make it possible.
I mean, it's a climb check, right? Like it's going to be at half movement speed anyway, right? But like I can climb a waterfall with it.
Sure.
Not necessarily the droplets in the air, but the wet.
Yeah.
Even if it's super smooth, I can still climb up.
It is
magic, right?
Here's what I would say: the surface mass, I guess, the surface size must still be something that could hold your weight. So, like a raindrop wouldn't be able to hold your weight because there's nothing really supporting it, but a waterfall if you envision that as being like ice.
You have just drawn a line in physics arbitrarily.
Yes.
Because that is how water fucking works.
Yes.
Dan. That is how water.
Yes.
Goddamn, Dan. And can we just back up to the fact that it wasn't just because of Brad's erection that you liked it? So Brad's erection is part of this equation?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Can we please stop talking about that?
Anything that brings that man joy, I'm happy with. So we'll just move on to 4th level spells.
Sure.
We get Conjure Woodland Beings, Freedom of Movement, Grasping Vine, Locate Creature, and Stone Skin.
Ooh, far fewer now.
Far fewer for 4th level. Conjure Woodland Beings lets you conjure animals like Conjure Beasts. Lets you conjure like Conjure Animals does, except these creatures are actually Fey. You could have Fey creatures here. The same CR2 limitation exists, though.
Okay, there are a lot of like low CR Fey creatures. So
Exactly.
That's actually fairly useful.
Yeah. Next, you get Freedom of Movement, which...
Sorry, are they friendly to you?
Yes.
So even if they're an evil creature with crazy-ass abilities, they're
Yes.
still on your side?
Yes.
Bitchin'.
Okay, so Freedom of Movement is next, which allows movement in no way... which allows movement to in no way be hindered or slowed for 1 hour with no concentration. This makes the creature that this is cast on effectively immune to paralyzed and restrained condition, and water also doesn't slow you down, but you still float, damn it.
Okay, all right, hold on. 2 things. 1, does gust of wind or anything else slow you down then?
No.
Okay, because it says in no way hindered or slowed
Yeah.
down. Okay.
So can you be knocked prone?
Yes, but it takes only 5 feet of your movement to get out of one of these. Like you can be grabbed by something as well, but it only costs you 5 foot of your movement to get away from it.
That's not how that works. You have to make a strength check.
That is with freedom.
Oh, you just like slip free.
Yeah.
Right? Oh, okay, cool. My other question is, you can cast this on others?
Yes.
Very useful now.
Yeah.
You put this on a monk or a rogue or a barbarian with all
Never getting touched.
Yeah.
Never being held down.
Yeah.
Yeah. Next is an alternative to this, which is Grasping Vine.
The opposite.
Which is the opposite, yeah. Basically, as a bonus action, you create a vine that will grasp a creature of your choice within 30 feet of it and pull it 20 feet towards itself. This lasts for 1 minute, and uses your bonus action each turn to direct. Okay? Next, you get Locate Creature, which is like Locate Object, just with living stuff, and still within 1,000 feet of you. Now, this can be specific or the closest of a type. So you can be like, where's the closest goblin? Where's the closest unicorn, right? If they're within 1,000 feet of you, you'll know. Finally, you have Stone Skin, which is not a better version of Bark Skin. This gives your character resistance to bludgeoning, slashing, and piercing damage for 1 hour, and costs 100 gold of diamond dust that the spell consumes. Okay, that's it.
Okay. Again, I got to go back because I've been Googling now because I'm so angry about this daylight nonsense. You got it backwards. Jeremy Crawford says 100% that is not how it is.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and there is no errata for it. As a matter of fact, it is all over the internet that no, this does not affect vampires. Fuck you. It is not sunlight.
That's dumb.
Yeah.
It is at my table, fuck it.
You just get it so early. Level 3, though, to wipe out Strahd? 3rd level spell? That's early. That's my argument for no, it shouldn't.
Well, okay, but what level are you fighting Strahd?
Oh, I don't know. Every time that bastard shows up.
Yeah.
I mean, he makes an appearance early, doesn't he?
He does, right as soon as you get out of the first village, you see him.
Right, and you want your ranger potentially to end the campaign?
Your ranger's not going to be high enough level to cast this. This is a 3rd level spell.
Which they get at 9th level, I guess, but like... I don't know. That seems really early and really easy to do.
Yeah, I think other
spoiler
classes will get it much earlier too. So if it is, right?
I mean, 3rd level spell, so 5th level?
For a cleric, yeah.
Oh.
Like, I like that it doesn't do it, especially because, I mean, spoiler for Curse of Strahd here, there's a freaking MacGuffin to give you the ability to essentially have daylight, like the actual, like, sunlight.
Yeah.
Which can hinder Strahd. Like, that's a major part of the campaign is getting this item. To be able to just blow a 3rd level spell slot.
Yeah, that's
Shouldn't we put it in a spoiler warning there?
No.
No.
Curse of Strahd came out so long ago, and literally everyone has either played it or read it or is dumb.
I haven't.
Well,
done
Kyle,
either. So thanks. Also, editing one episode, just spoiled an entire thing for me.
Oh, which
They're
one?
like, if you're gonna play this, stop listening now.
you should send us a message when that shit's gonna happen. Was it a Mad Mage thing? Because you're playing Mad Mage?
No, not Mad Mage, luckily. One was Candlekeep, but it's just for one adventure.
Yeah.
Sure, okay.
And since we're
Was
playing,
it the Hags episode?
Yeah, I think so.
Fuck.
Yeah.
We just blew the fucking lid off of that Candlekeep adventure.
which is fine because we're passing around the DMing. So
you should DM that one.
yeah,
Okay.
that's what I'm hoping for.
All right. So, okay, in order, again, Kyle, Conjure Woodland Beings.
Oh, it was another Hags episode that you guys ruined. It was the Wild Beyond the Witchlight.
Oh,
Yeah, we do that as well.
Yeah.
I mean, we did say spoiler warnings for that one, but you were editing it.
But I was editing it.
Yeah.
Was that the one where I talked about the Gepedophile?
Yeah.
Yes.
Good times. I've got some real questions about Disney movies, by the way. Like some real fucking issues. For example, here's another one that drives me nuts. Prince Eric, first of all, Little Mermaid in that little normal size. Anyway, moving that aside. Prince Eric is like the prince of a coastal seafaring community and whatnot, and they're getting married. What is he serving for dinner?
Fish.
Yeah.
Well,
What does a mermaid eat in the first place?
Fish.
Yeah.
they all have personalities. They speak. A fish is her best freaking friend.
Yeah. Also, I mean, there's a lot of rapey vibes coming off Prince Eric. Like, he falls in love with a girl who doesn't say a single word to him.
Who's also 16.
Yeah, and he's like, what, in his late 20s?
Also, he thinks her name is Mildred for no reason.
Yeah.
That one weirded me out too. I've got a lot of problems with Little Mermaid, but we're gonna keep moving forward. Anyways, Kyle, conjure woodland beings, freedom of movement, grasping vine, locate creature, or stone skin. Which one stands out to you?
I mean, conjure woodland being sounds way more fun, but freedom of movement has the potential to fuck up a lot of encounters.
Yes.
Yeah. For me, I love conjure woodland beings, man. Just the amount of weird fuckery you could get up with Fae,
Yeah.
right? Especially Fae that are magically compelled to obey you.
Yeah, I got to go with freedom of movement on this one. Just when I'm a player, I don't want my options limited. So could you imagine how happy Megan would be if she could get freedom of movement?
Oh, yeah.
Literally everything that I ever send against her grapples. So
Okay, so next for the 5th level spells, this is another small one. We got Commune with Nature, Conjure Volley, Swift Quiver, and Tree Stride. Okay? Commune with Nature, which allows you to know everything about the land within 3 miles of you, or 300 feet in caves. You learn up to 3 locations of water, creatures, powerful celestials, fays, fiends, elementals, and undead within that 3 miles, influence of other planes within that 3 miles, or buildings within that 3 miles. Basically, you can commune with nature to be able to determine the location of 3 things.
it's like Diet Scry.
Yeah, right? Next is Conjure Volley, which is like Conjure Barrage, but even more arrows. You pull 1 arrow out and just create a shit ton of fucking arrows. 40-foot radius with a 20-foot high cylinder of arrows raining on whatever's underneath. Okay? This matches damage type of whatever arrow you use, and it must be non-magical to start the spell. Okay? Next is Swift Quiver, which use a bonus action to be able to attack twice with a ranged attack from a specific quiver. What?
No, sorry, I just got this. Do you remember when we were talking about the Knoll Hunters?
Yeah.
And they've got those special arrows that pin you to the ground?
Yep.
That's not magical.
No, it's not.
So, there we go. There's my answer.
Okay. Next is Swift Quiver, which allows you to use a bonus action to be able to attack twice with a ranged attack from a specific quiver as a bonus action for every turn up to a minute. Basically, this lets your ranger emulate a fighter for a minute.
Yeah. Also, it's a good name for a porno.
Swift Quiver?
Yeah.
Just gonna let that sit.
It's a great name for a porno about premature ejaculation.
Well, it's not like you suddenly get a quiver. It's like the quiver itself is relatively small.
Next is Tree Stride.
Okay.
Next is Tree Stride, which allows you to walk and or teleport through 2 specific trees within 500 feet of each other for up to a minute.
So you get a portal essentially, but it's trees.
Yes, and you have to choose 2 specific trees. It's not, and they have to be within 500 feet of each other. Okay, so you could just bamf back and forth between those 2 trees.
So it's like teleportation circle.
It's more like Misty Step but bigger.
Yeah. Okay.
Right? You just walk through a tree to a different spot.
Kyle, which one's your favorite?
I mean, Swift Quiver is pretty good. Conjure Volley, I feel like, let's say I'm attacking a large creature, I should be hitting it a whole bunch of times with the arrows, right?
Oh, it does a shit ton. I think it's like 8d8 damage.
Yeah, but you're level 17. 8d8 is good.
As a single action attack?
Yeah, but I mean, like, let's say there's a medium-sized creature and then a huge-sized creature. I should be doing more damage to the huge creature than I should to the medium creature.
You should play 3.5. Yeah.
Yeah. Also, get out your protractor and compass because we're going to get real.
Yeah.
Dan?
Commune with nature, man. Like the ability, that list, being able to find within 3 miles of you the locations of any powerful celestial, fae, fiend, elemental, or undead. Right? Like,
do you know exactly where they are?
Yeah, within 3 miles of you.
Okay, that's pretty good. But I feel like you want to have an exploration heavy campaign.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
but that just gives you the destination. You still have to get there. That doesn't let you get there, right? So
yeah.
I see this is just removing a very frustrating step of like having to hunt them down. Like your princess is in another castle, right? It removes that.
Okay, I got a question. Let's say there are 5 powerful celestials. Which 3 does it select? The 3 most powerful? The 3 closest?
DM discretion, I would say.
All right.
Right? It doesn't really say the 3 closest. Like your character has to choose 3 things.
They have to know the thing they're looking for?
No, they don't.
Okay.
You do not have to know the thing you're looking for.
Interesting.
It's like a 3-mile Doppler.
Before I take this, I'm talking to my DM about exactly how it works. Because if I'm walking into the city of the undead, I know there are undead there, but I'm looking for the king of zombies or whatever.
This is more if I have a level 17 or higher ranger in my group, I will know he has this. This is something, as a DM, you need to be aware that your ranger has access to.
Yeah, but I would still, as the ranger, I'd be clearing with the DM, how does this fucking work?
Yeah.
For me, it's Conjure Volley. That's fun.
I don't know, Swift Quiver with the multiple attacks, you could attack at level 17 4 times around.
Yeah, it leads directly to the little death.
Yeah.
Is it concentration? No, right?
It is, I believe.
Okay, so that's a player's handbook. Now there are far more limited spell lists in the other books that have come out, right? So Xanathar's Guide to Everything, Dan, what did that give us?
That gave us, as first level spells, Absorb Elements, Beast Bond, Snare, and Zephyr Strike. As second level spell, you get Healing Spirit, just the one.
That's all you need.
Third level spell, Flame Arrows. Fourth level spell, Guardian of Nature. And fifth level spells, Steel Wind Strike and Wrath of Nature.
Sure. What do those do real quick?
Okay. First level spell, Absorb Elements, which lets you absorb some elemental damage to gain resistance of that element and deal some elemental damage with your next melee hit, and it's specifically melee.
What, are you turning fire into fire damage?
Pretty much.
Or can you turn it into cold damage?
No, you're turning fire into fire.
Okay. That's not as useful as it sounds.
And melee, you're a ranger.
Yeah.
Right? Next is Beast Bond, which lets you, for 10 minutes, to speak telepathically to a beast who will then communicate back to you with simple emotions or concepts, and also grants that beast advantage on some attacks to creatures within a range of you.
That's fun if you're going to be one of those animal companion kind of peoples.
Yep.
Yeah.
Also, first level spell, Snare, which you get to create a perpetual invisible magical trap with a 30-foot stretch of rope. There is no end to the duration. It's either if it's spelled or triggered. Those are the only ways that the spell stops.
Interesting.
And it consumes 30 feet of rope.
Interesting. Okay.
And finally, Zephyr Strike, which lets you piss off your DM and assassin rogues alike by, with a bonus action, not triggering opportunity attacks with movement, making your first weapon attack per round with advantage, dealing extra damage on that attack, and increase your movement speed by 30 feet as long as you make that attack for a full minute.
What?
This is not a first level spell. That is a second or third level spell.
Yeah.
It's so powerful. I pumped that. My Gloomstalker / Assassin ran Hunter's Mark plus this plus Assassinate, and I was doing shit tons of damage.
You straight up, when you turned bad, when you turned heel and killed...
I turned on the party.
Yeah.
I straight up murdered one of the other player characters in one round.
Yeah.
First round, I just dropped one of them.
Okay. So we're going to move on. Second level spell you get here is Healing Spirit, which lets you create a spectral healing assistant that you can move around the battlefield and tell to heal things as a bonus action. Okay. Does a D6.
It's not as much as Cure Wounds, but fuck is it useful. The utility is amazing for this.
Yeah.
You can put it over an unconscious character.
Yeah. And it's healing. It's not temporary hit points.
Yeah, you can just plop it on top of your fighter who's just in the front row getting beat on, right? Mm-hmm. Anyway.
As a third level spell, you get Flame Arrows, which lets you make 12 of... which lets you make 12 of the arrows in a quiver deal some fire damage on top of the regular damage.
Okay.
Okay,
cool.
Higher levels of the spell gives you more arrows that happen.
Third spell slot, third level?
This is a third level. So at fourth, you get 14 arrows, and at fifth, you'd get 15 arrows.
Sure, okay.
Sorry, fourth.
I feel like those numbers don't quite
16 arrows. Sorry.
add up very well.
Sure, well, it's 12, 14, 16.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not worth it for the fifth level spell slot.
No. As a fourth level spell slot, you got Guardian of Nature, which allows you to summon a spirit of a primal beast or great tree as a bonus action that then embodies you, like buffs you. The beast, the primal beast, will grant you movement speed, dark vision, and some melee/strength buffs, while the tree will give you temporary hit points, aid your con saves, and let you make dexterity and wisdom attacks with advantage, while also sprouting difficult terrain 15 feet around you for a minute. Concentration.
So this is one or the other.
One or the other.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, what else we got?
And now the fifth level spells. Steel Wind Strike, which is basically a limit break with a Buster Sword. You use a melee weapon to instantly strike up to 5 creatures for a potential 6d10 force damage. Each hit with the added boon of teleporting within 5 feet of targets as you go.
Okay.
So you are just teleporting around, bump, 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 slashing shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can you hit the same guy 5 times?
It's unclear.
So yes.
Yeah.
Right? So next you get
I'm in front of you. I'm behind you. I'm beside you.
Yeah, right? But 6d10 every hit.
Yeah.
That's the only reason why I would be like, maybe not, because I'm not giving you 30d10.
Yeah. And it's...
Yeah, that averages out at like 33 points of damage. Force damage.
Yeah.
Every hit.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Then again, level 17.
Fifth level spell, yeah. Next is Wrath of Nature, which uses the power of nature to harry or harm foes in a 60-foot cube 120 feet away from you.
Poof, you got hair.
Well, not wrong kind of harry. There are different effects based off the type of nature that's there for undergrowth or grass, trees, roots and vines, and rocks. Okay? So the undergrowth is basically, it becomes difficult terrain. The trees do damage. The roots bind you, and the rocks bind you, do damage, and is difficult terrain all at the same time.
But less of each.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Right.
Okay.
All right. So, grab your dice. I want to ask, which one of all of these Xanathars, what is the real one?
17.
At a 16.
13.
Well, we're all rolling high, but it's... anyway, Dan, which one?
I hate that it is, but if I'm a player, I'm taking Zephyr Strikes.
Absolutely. That's the right answer. But
Singular most powerful spell that Rangers get, in my opinion.
Hunter's Mark for me it's a little bit better because Zephyr Strike kicks ass in the first round, but it gets less and less important at later rounds.
Yeah, I would agree. And in an hour, right? And you can keep going. And you can change creatures. Zephyr Strike, you can't change.
Well, it's not an hour. It's 4 minutes. And Zephyr Strike is a 1 minute buff on yourself.
Yeah.
So your first attack every round you hit with advantage that does additional damage for a full minute.
Yeah, that's a ridiculously powerful spell for a first level.
But
And
you're
no
gonna-
concentration.
No, it is concentration.
Oh, it is concentration.
But
okay.
you don't get that many.
So you can't Hunter's Mark and that Zephyr
No.
Strike at the same time.
No.
No?
No.
No?
Because they're both concentration.
And I was doing it wrong. But you don't get that many spell slots,
No, you don't.
No.
right? So, I mean, you're going to blow this and then be out relatively quickly. Hunter's Mark is a gift that keeps on giving.
Yeah.
Anyway, honorable mention goes to Healing Word.
Yes.
Or
Well,
healing,
no,
Healing Spirit. Yeah. Like, I mean, come on. That's so fucking good. So,
It was really good. I like the teleporting sword strikes.
that's
the
really
steel wind strike.
flavorful,
Yeah.
right? But, I mean,
It's a lot of damage, too.
yeah. Okay, Dan, what did we get at from Tasha's?
Tasha's gives us Entangle, Searing Smite as first level spells, Aid, Enhance Ability, Gust of Wind, Magic Weapon, and Summon Beast as second level spells, Elemental Weapon, Meld into Stone, Revivify, and Summon Fey for third level spells, Dominate Beast and Summon Elemental for fourth level spells, and Greater Restoration as a fifth level spell. Okay? Firstly, Entangle. Why did it take till Tasha's to finally get this to a ranger? It is a 20-foot square of grasping vegetation to restrain or slow down creatures.
Was this printed somewhere else first or no?
I don't know.
Okay.
Also, you get Searing Smite, which basically lets you hit a creature so hard they light on fire. Okay. Second level spells, you get Aid, which gives up to 3 people 5 temporary hit points per spell level for 8 hours. No concentration. You get Enhance Ability, which, I mean, you basically know what this does. Boost the effectiveness of one of the core 6 abilities, where multiple creatures can then be included with higher level spell slots. Okay. Gust of Wind is the next one down the line, which creates a line of strong wind to blow out campfires and propel boats or propel creatures 15 feet away from you, potentially over a cliff.
I just remembered Entangle was a druid spell.
Yes.
But it wasn't on Rangers.
Yes.
But it was in the PHB.
Yes.
Yeah. Series oversight. Anyways, I'm sorry to interrupt.
Next, you get Magic Weapon, which gives you a +1 to your attack and damage on a weapon for an hour. It only works on non-magical weapons.
Who
Okay.
gives a shit?
Yeah.
Right? This does increase as you get higher levels. Like you can give your weapon +2 or +3 with higher spell levels.
Why am I wasting my spell slots?
Yeah, I'm going to reiterate with
Precious.
who gives a shit.
Yeah.
Next is Summon Beast, which allows you to summon up to 3 types of beasts that you can command with no action required by you. You can choose air, land, or water, and flavor the beast based off of that stat block that's given to you from the spell.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
At third level, you get Elemental Weapon, which lets you grant a weapon of your choice a +1 to attack bonus and a 1d4 extra elemental damage of the chosen elemental type, which then, of course, also grows with spell level.
Sure.
Okay? You get Meld into Stone, which allows you to gain the option to hide in stone for up to 8 hours. Unfortunately, this doesn't let you move through the stone, but rather just become part of it. If you step out of the wall, the spell ends, but while in the wall, you can still cast spells on yourself, although you are completely unaware of anything going on outside of the wall, outside of the passage of time.
So it's not even a good place to have a long rest.
No.
If the rest of the party gets ambushed, you're just sitting there getting stoned.
Yeah. This is where you go to hide and you're like, this is not my problem party.
This was used to great effect in a Tomb of Annihilation game that I played, where the one of the characters that had this disappeared into a wall while we were fighting a horde of undead because we had just pissed the character off. So he just melded into stone and we all had to fight waves upon waves of undead while he just sat there pouting.
Well, that just encourages problem fucking players then, doesn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Next is Revivify, which allows you to resurrect your freshly, unnaturally deceased target. Okay. It must both be fresh and unnatural.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you can't bring up somebody from old age with Revivify.
Yeah.
Okay. Also, for third level, you get Summon Fey, which is like Summon Beast, but with Fey creatures. So you get the Fuming, Mirthful, or Tricksy types.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fourth level, you get Dominate Beast, which allows you to completely dominate a beast for up to a minute.
Do you put them in one of your pieces of furniture, Dan?
1 second.
No, that's a bad kitty.
This also lasts up to 10 minutes if you're a ranger. Like, it's a minute for everybody else who's casting it, but it's 10 minutes for you.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Now, this animal will completely obey you, but gets new saves every time it's hit. Okay? Every time it takes HP damage, it'll get a new wisdom save, but it will completely and 100% obey your commands during this time.
Like, even jump off a cliff commands?
Yes.
Well then.
Okay. Also at 4th level, you get Summon Elemental, which allows you to summon Beast and... which allows you to summon elementals a la Summon Beast and Fae.
Sure.
Okay. Finally, at 5th level, you get Greater Restoration, which lets you reduce exhaustion by 1 stage or remove a charmed or petrified condition
Yeah.
or a curse or an attunement to a cursed item or any reduction to an ability score or hit point maximum.
Okay.
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 That's all the spells.
Which one do you guys like from that? Let's roll. 13.
3.
15. I'm just going first all over the place here.
Story of your life.
I really like enhanceability, just for utility, especially cast at higher levels where if you have a party full of idiots who don't know how to use a charisma check, you can mitigate it. If you have a bunch of people who have a bunch of heavy armor on them and thus are shit with stealth checks, cut that a little bit, right? Like there's...
Sure. But I can get that with Pass Without a Trace.
Yes,
like,
you can. Yeah.
You know what?
And that's only one. Enhanceability is only one target.
Higher spell levels, you do other targets.
Okay.
You can add targets onto it.
Look, I wanted to say Gust of Wind. I really did because I really like Gust of Wind. However, Revivify. Fuck, is that powerful. And, like, you get it. I know it's a 3rd level spell, and, like, you get it way earlier with Clerics and Druids. As a half cast, you get it at 9th level and not 5th. But still, that is tier 2. You are revivifying.
Yeah.
That's so powerful. Revivify is one of the 5 or so spells in the entire game that is super, super, super underleveled. Kyle?
The clear answer is meld into stone.
Just so you can fuck your party over?
Yeah, just so I can fuck him over. No, I would have to agree with you with Revivify.
Yeah.
Right? It's just bringing back people from the dead is very handy.
But make sure you get your diamonds.
Yeah.
Hey, this is Adam, once again asking everybody out there to send us your mailbag questions. As a peek behind the curtain, we start every single mailbag episode with 60 questions. They're arranged on 3 separate D20 tables, and 3 dungeon masters that are featured on the show select dice that correlate to each table and roll randomly to see what questions will come up. And then they absolutely 100% have to answer the question. We get questions from Reddit, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, and through our email address at info@itsamimic.com, and you can reach out through any one of those platforms to hit us with any kind of question. Most of the questions that we're getting these days are through the subreddit r/itsamimic, and I go in there fairly frequently to make sure that all of our tables are up to date. Now, because it's random, there are some very old questions that are still on the tables. For example, one that mentions Unearthed Arcana's version of the Astral Self Monk, even though it has now been printed in Tasha's Cauldron of Everything. We run a mailbag episode every 3 months or so on average, sometimes more frequently, sometimes less. It's a mimic, you never know what you're gonna get, and sometimes you get mailbag episodes. Normally when we decide to sit down and do it, we have replenished about 3/4 of the questions because as we answer them, we cross them off the list. So that's 20 down every episode, and then we replenish just organically 15 new ones just from people reaching out at random throughout the time period between episodes. However, right now, as it stands, we have 6 empty slots for questions, which is why we reach out to see who's got a burning desire to hear us respond directly to you. And remember, we will answer anything. Some of the questions we have already are how to incorporate downtime when not in a town, what our favorite adventuring movies are and why, what to do with sentient toilets, spells for arcane tricksters, and there's also a request for romantic advice both in-game and in real life. According to the schedule, the hosts that will be on the next mailbag episode are Megan, Dave, and James, so have at her. Feel free to go nuts. Again, on Reddit, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, or through our email at info@itsamimic.com. You can check the show notes for links to every one of these.
Okay, so we've talked about the spell list, all right? Let's get into the different class features, not subclasses. Remember, This is only about 2/3 of the story with any given ranger above 3rd level.
Yeah.
Right? Because we're not going to talk about subclass features at all. Just the class features, the basic architecture of what a ranger is. And we're going to compare PHB against Tasha's Cauldron of Everything because they give you a whole lot more. Tasha's Cauldron of Everything gives you 1 or 2 new unique, I think up to 4, depending on the class, unique things that you can do as variant rules. This now, however, for Rangers, is a massive rewrite.
Yeah.
So you can choose to go with the rewrite as a whole or bits and pieces of it as you go, and we'll talk about it as we go as well. But let's look at base Ranger, okay? You get your 1d10 hit dice, which is powerful. You are supposed to be a frontline fighter. Even if you're ranged, you're supposed to get in the shit of things. You said before that, I mean, why would you get that? Because a melee spell because you're ranged. Rangers are surprisingly effective with melee.
Yeah.
However, they're classically built to be ranged, right? It's in their name.
I think that is also what everybody expects them to be, so that's how everybody plays them.
Yeah. For armor proficiencies, you get light armor, medium armor, and shields. I like they don't get heavy armor. Doesn't make sense for a ranger.
No, it doesn't.
You get simple weapons and martial weapons, which is all weapons. So thanks for that, guys. No tool proficiencies come standard. You can, I think, pick them up with backgrounds instead. So
I still think a base ranger should get herbalism kits, but that's just me.
Yeah.
We'll talk about kits another time.
Okay.
So saving throws, strength, and dex. It's pretty fucking fighty.
Yeah.
Wait, they get 3?
No, the strength and dex.
Oh, okay.
So
I'm just hearing
No
things.
wisdom, no con.
no, I know, right? But strength and dex. It's just pushing them to be diet fighter.
Yeah.
Right? So, and the skills are no surprise anywhere across the board here. Animal handling, athletics, insight, investigation, nature, perception, stealth, and survival. Choose 3.
Yeah.
Completely makes sense.
I like that it's choose 3.
Yeah, there's not a misstep there. Then it gets into the actual class features. Dan, why don't you break us down for the player's handbook, and then I'll give us what the replacement is in Tasha's, and we'll talk about whether or not we like the replacement.
So in the PHB, the first one I want to cover is Natural Explorer. That is, you get it at first level. It is basically favored terrain from previous editions. In fact, later on, if it mentions a favored terrain, it's referring to the terrain you choose here. You get to choose one general type of terrain, whether it's Arctic, coast, desert, forest, grassland, mountain, swamp, or Underdark.
Where's my marshes and bogs,
Swamps,
tundra,
No.
Arctic,
prairies?
grassland.
I don't like any of this,
Are
Dan.
you just trying to stump it? Or...
Yeah, I don't know what he's trying to do.
Aquatic, underwater.
Coast.
Underwater is not.
I would do coast.
I would not. This is my problem with the Little Mermaid all over again.
I don't know if you can... A ranger having underwater...
You don't think there could be
are the
Triton
same-
Rangers?
The thing is,
Yeah,
these
they
are the
could,
same.
I
These are the
guess, but-
same breakdowns that we had with Circle of the Land Druids, right?
Yes.
Right. I mean, if you get too granular with it, you're just playing 3.5.
That's fair.
Okay. So,
But still, they're missing underwater. Underwater should be its own thing.
I mean, if they're going to separate forest and mountain and Underdark or whatever, right? Like, rarely are you on the surface of a mountain the entire time you're on a mountain. You will go into the mountain.
Yeah,
But Underdark is different. Like, I think it should be underground and underdark. Those are very different fucking things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A dungeon and the what is the radiation fog that's in the Underdark? That's,
Yep.
Like, come on, guys. Anyways.
Yeah. While you're in that terrain, you get to double your proficiency for any intelligence or wisdom-based check pertaining to this terrain. And if you travel for more than an hour in that terrain, you get a couple boons. Difficult terrain doesn't hinder your group's movement if you spend more than an hour moving in it. Your group cannot be lost except by magic. You are always alert of any sort of danger while you are within your favorite terrain. You, individually, can move stealthily and at full movement speed if you are within your favorite terrain. You can gain twice as much food when foraging when you're within your favorite terrain, which is important for Tomb of Annihilation and when you're in Chult. And you know additional info when tracking creatures, including their number, their size, and how recently they passed through the area when you are within your favorite terrain.
I just want to point out that alert thing in your favorite terrain is bullshit. Because there's no mechanic given to that. That is DM discretion nonsense.
Yeah, you are just aware of danger.
Yeah, it's not like you get the alert feat. It's not like you can't be surprised, or they would say that. You're just kind of aware. You don't even have that shitty danger sense that barbarians get. Anyway, rant over.
Yeah, that's everything.
It scales at higher levels.
Oh, yeah, at 6th level and
11th.
at 10th level, you get to choose an additional terrain.
Yeah, so you get up to 3 as you go.
Yeah.
This is replaced by Deft Explorer. Now, this has, instead of that huge list of shit you get one thing at first level. You choose one of your skill proficiencies, and your proficiency bonus is doubled for any ability check you make that uses the chosen skill. Also, you get 2 additional languages.
Okay.
That's it. And this is called Canny. So there's 3 levels. That's it. At 6th level, you get what's called Roving, which gives you 5 additional movement speed. You gain a climbing speed and a swimming speed equal to your walking speed.
Is this when you are within a favorite terrain or just in general?
All the time. Because it replaces the favored terrain feat, basically.
Yeah, you're just a great explorer. That's all that this is. And then at 10th level, you get Tireless. Now, this one costs an action. It's not passive like the other ones are. But you can give yourself temporary hit points equal to 1d8 plus your wisdom modifier to a minimum of 1 temporary hit point. And you can use this action a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus, and you regain all expended uses when you finish a long rest.
Cool.
Also, whenever you finish a short rest, you can reduce your exhaustion level by 1.
Oh, that's useful.
How often do you get exhaustion levels?
In my campaign,
All the fucking time.
every other session.
In my campaign, all the fucking time.
Yeah.
Exhaustion is one of the biggest tools for a DM to use, in my opinion.
But I think you're right, though, Kyle. It doesn't pop up in the published materials that often, but most homebrews will work it into. This is how you bypass some of the tankier shit out there. So
Yeah.
You start to scare them with that. So let's grab our dice and roll. Which one do you like better?
Hey, natural 1.
Oh,
I got a 9.
15.
All right, so Kyle.
I think it honestly depends on what kind of campaign you're playing. I like both of them. I think they both have their strengths and weaknesses. Thematically, I think the one in the PHB fits better with my idea of a ranger, but I can understand why they would go with the Deft Explorer because so many people get rid of the exploration aspect of this game.
There are so many things. Oh, sorry.
Jumping the gun.
It's not my turn yet.
Yeah. Honestly, I'm sitting down and I'm thinking of the published materials, whether it is Barovia or Chult or the Mad Mage or any of these places. How often do you need 3 different terrains? Icewind Dale, right? Like you end up in the one over and over and over and over and over again. That's the theme.
Yeah.
So for homebrews, I'm leaning on the Tasha's one, and for the maybe in Chult, in Tomb of Annihilation, I would take the PHB.
It's very campaign specific if you go with the base PHB version of this, which I would recommend against no matter what you're playing. If you're playing a ranger, go with Deft Explorer, because most of the boons you get with favored terrain, you can get in other ways as well.
Yeah, that's true.
Right?
But Ghost of Saltmarsh should be good because you've got a lot of different terrains.
A lot of coastal stuff there, yeah.
It's more than just coastal, though. You'll get into jungle and shit as well. So, okay. What do we have next, Dan?
Next, we have some favored enemy, which also first level ability, which is also a first level ability. You get a particular set of skills versus a specific type of creature of your choice. You gain advantage to track them or to recall information about them. And you could also learn a language associated with them if they speak one at all. And
it's the creature type that's listed, like aberration, celestial.
Yeah.
That kind
if you choose humanoid, you could choose 2 different types of more granular, like gnoll and orc, right?
Sure, okay.
For your selection there. Yeah.
But, I mean, you're not going to get that language bonus if you're doing oozes, for example.
Yeah, pretty much.
So, okay. We get favored foe, which sounds very, very similar. And it's bullshit because they actually use the term favored enemy over and over again in this breakdown, although it's supposed to replace favored enemy. Thanks for making it clear, Wizards. You fucking, it's right in the, you could have said favored foe, but you, all right, now I'm pissed again. Anyways, before we get into that, you also need to know what the 20th level ranger ability is, because favored foe stacks with it.
Okay.
All right, and that is Foe Slayer. At 20th level, on each one of your turns, you can add your wisdom modifier to the attack roll or the damage roll. But it has to be against one of your favored enemies that you were talking about before,
Yeah.
right? So you can choose this feature before or after a roll, but before any effects of the roll are applied. So, favored foe specifically replaces favored enemy, but works with the Foe Slayer. So, this triggers when you hit a creature with an attack roll. At that point, you then mark the enemy for 1 minute or until you lose your concentration. So this is Hunter's Mark without the Hunter's Mark. The first time on each one of your turns that you hit it and deal damage to it, including the time that you mark it, you add 1d4. So keep in mind at level 20, you also add your wisdom and all that shit from the Foe Slayer as well. So you can use this feature to mark a favorite enemy a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus, and you regain all of the stuff at the end of a long rest only. The extra damage increases to 1d6 at 6th level and 1d8 at 14th level. What's interesting here is that this doesn't benefit you from stacking it onto one creature over and over and over again. Mark them once and then mark a different creature. And the reason for that is it says the first time on each of your turns that you hit the favored enemy and deal damage to it, you get to add 1d4.
Okay.
So what do you guys think? Who's going first? Kyle, which one do you like? Favorite enemy or favorite foe?
Favorite enemy. Favorite foe just feels overdone. Yeah, I mean, we have it addressed in essentially Hunter's Mark and Zephyr
Strike, yeah.
Zephyr Strike, right? Like this, you're tripling up on essentially the same ability, which feels boring to me. I kind of like the idea of your character like learning so much about a certain type of creature, they become almost obsessed about it. Like flavorfully, I like favorite enemy over favorite foe.
I'm going with favorite foe on this one. I want that synergy. I want it to double up. I want to do shit tons of damage. For a martial class that is not getting 12 freaking attacks in a round, I'm looking for this. I absolutely am. The favorite enemy is all well and good, but again, it's campaign specific. What if you choose aberrations and you end up in Barovia?
Then your DM's being a dick by not letting you change that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or you should talk to your DM before you even start.
Yeah.
Sure, but still, even in Storm King's Thunder, you're doing a lot of not fighting giants all the way through that campaign. You're going to pick Dragon in Rise of Tiamat and be sorely fucking disappointed.
Yeah, but I mean, also, favorite enemy ranks up as well, right?
Yeah,
the same as it does for favorite terrain. So you get another one at 6th level and then a third at 10th.
Yeah, I would rather do the extra damage, if I can be honest.
I would lean toward favored foe if it wasn't for the fact that it requires concentration. There are so many different spells that Rangers use that require concentration. This is a class ability that makes...
It does not require concentration. It is as if you were concentrating on a spell.
So it means you cannot concentrate on a different spell.
Or until you lose concentration.
As if you were concentrating on the spell.
Yeah, so you can't cast Hunter's Mark and that at the same time.
Yeah, you have to maintain your mark on your favorite foes with your concentration, which means you're not casting Zephyr Strike, you're not casting Entangle. By using that ability, you are removing a vast amount of ammunition that a ranger has, whereas favorite enemy isn't concentration based and is more flavorful in the fact that you get bonuses on the tracking and the following down. For me, it's favorite enemy every day.
Yeah, and 1d4, woo!
I mean, it scales up, right? But I mean, it doesn't scale up enough, especially as a class, like you mentioned, that doesn't get 1 million attacks in a round, right?
Okay, so let's move on to the next thing that they get, which is fighting styles.
Yeah, okay, so fighting style, 2nd level, you get martial, basically. Like, it just gives you a little bit more of a oomph in the physical combat range of things, right? You can choose with the base PHB between archery, which gives you a +2 to your attack bonus with ranged attacks, defense, which gives you +1 to AC as long as you're wearing armor, dueling, which gives you +2 damage when fighting with just one-handed weapon, or 2-weapon fighting, which lets you add your ability modifier to your bonus action secondary weapon attack.
Sorry, dueling is also a melee weapon.
Yeah, it has to be melee as well. Yeah.
Which one's your favorite?
As a character to character. For me, I think archery's the best one.
Kyle?
Yeah, I mean, if I'm going to play Ranger, I'm probably going to go with distance, so archery. But, I mean, if I do play a melee one, I would go dueling.
+2 to attack bonus.
Yeah.
It's a +2 to your attack bonus.
That's a 10% bump. Yeah.
Yeah, when we're talking to a game that is so heavily structured and foundationalized by the...
You say foundationized?
Foundationalized.
That's still not a fucking word.
No, I know. By the bounded accuracy of this, like, there's a very big reason why we don't have +5 Vorpal swords in D&D 5e.
What's interesting, though, is
and
that...
max out at 20.
Is that monsters will get a +7, +13, +17 to hit in tier 2, but you never really see AC go above like 22, 24. And those are like demigods that get that, right? So that 10% holds true, right? For a while.
Yeah.
However, you get better shit in Tasha's. And I'm not even going to argue with you guys about this one. First of all, I'm going to go in reverse alphabetical order. You get thrown weapon fighting. Archery is ranged weapons. Not every thrown weapon has the ranged qualifier on it. A hand axe is not a ranged weapon.
Okay.
But a dart is. A sling is ranged, right? However, thrown weapon fighting allows you to, draw any thrown weapon as part of the attack, which means you can just throw twice with like your bonus action as well, right?
Yeah.
Anytime you attack with this, you draw and throw. Remember, you really only get one object interaction per turn otherwise. So this is big.
Yeah.
And in addition, you get a +2 bonus to the damage roll, which is not as impressive as the 10% that archery gives you.
Yeah, but a lot of the thrown weapons are low damage to begin with. That compensates a little bit with it.
Yeah, and if you're throwing it 3 times, that's an additional 6.
Yep.
And not a D6. Six.
Have a lot of fun. Go Tavern Brawler with that guy.
We actually had this conversation last
the fighters
episode.
Yeah. Yeah. The next one, working backwards, is Druidic Warrior. You learn 2 cantrips of your choice from the Druid spell list. And then whenever you gain a level in this class, you get to replace one of them with another.
Yeah.
It's a little but Rangers now get cantrips.
Yeah. I have a player currently using this to great effect by asking me questions like, could I use Druidcraft on things if I plant a seed under someone's skin and force it to grow? And I'm like, you're a mother of 2.
Yeah.
Bitch, you're not thinking about it. Get him to swallow it.
Yeah.
That's roots for days, friends.
She has engineered a way by crazy rolls to put seeds on the tip of her arrows.
By the way, I was not calling her a bitch. I'm calling Dan a bitch.
Yeah.
Continue.
She's put seeds on the tip of her arrows so that when she shoots things, it implants seeds into their targets, and then she will use Druidcraft to grow the seeds inside of things.
That is terrifying.
Yeah.
That is the kind of shit I expect from James.
She asked me if she could do that, and I'm like, who hurt you?
Yeah.
Anyway, speaking of the best one here, blind fighting. So blind fighting gives you blind sight within a range of 10 feet, and then within that range, you can see anything that isn't behind total cover. Let me say that again. You can see anything that isn't behind total cover. Even if you're blinded or in darkness.
Yep.
Now, that's not magical darkness.
Just darkness.
Just darkness. Moreover, you can see an invisible creature within that range unless it hides from you successfully, right?
Yeah.
So, that's so fucking powerful. That's the clear fucking winner, right? I mean, you're arranged. Most people are picking up a bow and arrow, right? So that 10 feet is a little limiting for a ranger. But okay, Kyle, you're first.
It fits so well. Okay, I disagree with you on the last episode we did when we were talking about blind fighting. For the ranger, I just think it fits. That is the character that should have
of the surroundings and shit. Yeah.
But I also have a question about the mechanics, because I don't know. You can effectively see anything, but you still have to be looking at it, I assume.
It specifically doesn't say. In theory, you can see triggers for traps and shit.
But things can still hide from you.
Right.
In that blind sight. So a trap trigger is
I'm talking
hidden.
like a magical invisible.
Yeah. So like if you're being scryed upon with this, you would see the orb.
Yeah.
Yeah.
because that needs to be within 10 feet of you.
So I love blind sight. That's just the freaking best.
So I like this because it's level 2, but by level 18 it becomes worthless.
Right, except that I'm going to jump ahead. You get martial versatility at 4th, or every time that you get an ASI,
Yep.
which allows you to swap your fighting style.
Yeah. Which I would definitely be taking advantage of at level 16, because at level 18 you get a base ranger ability that does this.
Sure.
Yeah. All right.
The other thing that you get at 2nd level is the spellcasting focus, which is essentially a druidic focus for your spellcasting. It's weird they didn't get one in the first place. It feels like a strange thing. It just take this.
Yeah.
DMs, don't make this a sticking point.
Yeah.
Give them a spellcasting focus. It's them and the paladins that didn't get it stock, and that's fucking weird. So anyway, Dan, what do you have at 3rd level for us?
At 3rd level you have Primeval Awareness, which lets you spend a spell slot to sense if any aberrations, celestials, dragons, elementals, fays, fiends, and undead are within 1 mile, or 6 if it's your favorite terrain, of you.
So the really magical creatures out there.
Yeah.
Although I noticed monstrosities isn't on that list.
Well, I think it's the things that are beyond the natural order.
Supernatural creatures.
Yeah, right? Like extra-planar creatures. Monstrosities
Outsiders in 3rd
Yeah.
edition speak, right? So, okay, all right, I'm with you. However, in Tasha's, you get instead primal awareness, which is through the interconnections of nature, you get additional spells. So at certain levels in the class, if you don't already know them, you get these spells. You can cast each one of them once per long rest without expending a spell slot. So at 3rd level, you get speak with animals. So you just get to do that as a ranger.
once a day.
No, it's your spell list. Once a day, you can not
okay.
spend a spell slot on it. At 5th level, you get beast sense, which is when you get to warg. At 9th level, you get speak with plants. At 13th level, you get locate creature. And at 17th level, you get commune with nature.
Okay, so you get to do these spells once per day without spending a spell slot.
Yep.
Okay? As a ranger, you're preparing your spells anyway, so you get these spells anyways at their level. This just lets you be able to cast them without using a spell slot.
Right.
Yeah,
it
so
also
you-
adds them to your list, right?
Outside of, so you don't have to prepare them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
these
Yeah,
spells
okay,
don't
yeah, yeah.
count against the number of ranger spells you know.
Okay, cool.
So, which one do you like better, Kyle?
No, primal awareness,
Yeah,
hands down.
the extra spells.
Yeah, extra spells, and I can cast it without expending a spell slot. Like, that's amazing.
And
That's
each one of
actually
them-
how I thought expanded spell lists worked at first when I first started playing, and I found out I was cheating for like 2 months.
I just found out I was cheating as a ranger for like an entire campaign in
Yeah.
this episode. Anyway, so I don't apologize, Brad. Fuck you. So, and Tyler, if you're listening to this. Also, we have every one of these spells is so thematically on point for rangers. There's not a complaint in there, right? As a matter of fact, I think it was speak with plants and commune with nature. Those are the ones, Dan, that you liked the best. Like you were choosing those.
Yeah, my only thing is I prefer Primeval Awareness because it is such an iconic ranger ability in my mind, and you get those spells anyways if you choose to prepare them. So it doesn't quite count for me, really. Like it doesn't balance out for me until you get Commune with Nature, which then does what Primeval Awareness does, but only to 3 potential targets. So I prefer Primeval Awareness. I prefer the base ranger for this.
I think it also depends on what kind of campaign you're playing.
Yeah, right? My only problem with Primeval Awareness is it depends on your favorite terrain, which if you go Primeval Awareness and Natural Explorer, you're losing a feature. You don't have a favorite terrain.
Yep. So,
Sorry, Deft Explorer.
yes, instead of the natural
Natural
Yeah.
Explorer, yeah.
I mentioned martial versatility, which comes in at 4th level. It's the first time you get an ASI, and of course you get it again at 8th, 12th, 16th, and 19th levels, which is when you get to swap your fighting styles.
Yep.
Dan, what do we get at 10th level?
At 10th level, we get Hide in Plain Sight, which lets you spend a minute to use the surrounding nature to camouflage yourself into granting a +10 to stealth checks so long as you stay still.
Boo.
Yeah.
No.
As a DM, what do you make them roll? Just a extra dex check to see how still they're staying? Or do they have to surpass the stealth by a certain amount?
No, it's part of their stealth.
You just raise the DC?
No, I don't raise the DC even. They get a +10 stealth. They get a +10 stealth.
All right.
I imagine they're pretty good at standing still.
Like it's if you move 5 feet, I'm going to count that as movement. But you could be standing in the spot and breathing, and sure, I mean you're not going to rustle. You are a 10th level ranger at this point. You're okay with standing still. You're a hunter by class.
I'm absolutely not going to let you do shit, though. You don't get to use an action or a bonus action or anything else.
Oh, yeah.
You can do small little things, but you don't even get to draw a sword. Standing still means you do nothing. Mm-hmm. Stay put. You can sense, and that is all, right? So, and you can't even turn around. I'm going to be pretty hardcore with that standing still thing, because specifically called out in this feature. Therefore, it has to be a factor, right?
Yeah. Also, you get it as a spell, right? Like, why would you double up on it?
Yeah, I mean you get the hide in. You get the it's not hide in plain sight. Pass without a trace.
Right, where you can do it to your whole party
as a second level spell.
Level spell. So,
well, all right, try this on then. Nature's Veil. This replaces the hide in plain sight feature. You draw on the powers of nature to hide yourself from view briefly. So what you're doing is using a bonus action, and you magically become invisible. So it doesn't matter if you're still or not. This includes all of the equipment that you have, as well as all the things you're wearing, and it lasts until the beginning of your next turn. You can do this a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus, and it resets after a long rest.
Yep.
Ridiculous. The end of your next turn. So you get 2
Start
turns.
of your next turn.
Start of your next turn.
Yep.
Okay. Still.
You notice you don't drop the invisibility if you attack or cast a spell?
Yeah.
Yep.
That's the golden shit for me on this. That's what does it over hide in plain sight.
Yeah. This is one of the ones that hide in plain sight. Or sorry, this over hide in plain sight.
Yeah, Nature's Veil.
Hide in plain sight's garbage.
All right, so
mix that with a rogue, and you get your sneak attack damage.
Oh shit! Yeah, right.
Go Firbolg and get that one more time a day.
So Dan, can you walk us through? There are a couple of the things in the player's handbook just to round out what a ranger looks like.
Yeah. Okay. So we skipped Landstride, which is at 8th level, which is basically non-magical difficult terrain, doesn't slow your movement and cannot damage you at all ever.
Yeah.
It also gives you advantage on any saves versus magical plant life meant to impede your movement. Mm-hmm. You're good with that. It's not going to happen. You also get Vanish, which at 14th level lets you hide as a bonus action, and you can't be tracked unless you actually want to. Okay? Just straight up can't. Finally, at 18th level, as I mentioned earlier before, you get Feral Senses, which is where you're not penalized for attacking invisible targets, as your enhanced senses let you suss them out. Okay? You are just aware of any invisible target within 30 feet of you, so long as you are not blinded, deafened, or they are also hidden and invisible. So, total cover applies here, right? So, this is that fighting style, larger. This is 30-foot blind sense, is what this really truly is.
Yeah, that's a great ability.
Yeah, so all rangers get that.
So, Kyle, because you rolled highest before,
I am usually at the top.
Do these changes make the ranger a more viable option for players, in your opinion?
Yeah. Yes and no. I mean,
do you think it's a lateral movement?
Yeah, it's a lateral movement. I mean, it gives you more adaptability depending on whatever campaign you're playing. It gives you more options of how you're going to use a ranger or what style you want to go. But does it make it more a viable option? No. What I think they should have done is there's too many abilities within the ranger subclass, and they should have worked on making more impactful ones.
Because there's just so much shit happening all of the time. Yeah.
Because I mean, I played with some people that had like 4 abilities, and they would forget to use them.
Dan and Indomitable.
Yeah. Fuck, I hate that.
I think I mentioned that actually last time.
I have it written on the top of my character sheet for that guy in big blue letters, just Indomitable. Like, it covers my character name and everything. And I still forgot it.
You should just change your character's name to Indomitable.
No, the very Domitable. Yeah.
I 100% like these almost across the board better than the shit in the PHP. It makes me do more stuff during the game instead of all the weird little passive bullshit walking through the woods nonsense that we got before, because not every DM plays with that exploration pillar. And when everyone else in the party is a paladin or a bard, or they just want to get to the next thing, they don't give a shit how much food you foraged. Yeah, it's important, but it's a roll, and then you're on to the next thing. I got 3 lizards, now it's 6. Haha! Right, like, who gives a fuck? It will not be a thing you remember 3 years from now.
Yeah.
About how well you foraged or any of that shit. So, however, some of that stuff in Deft Explorer will make a difference.
Yeah. A lot of the weakness with Ranger came from Natural Explorer, right? And the kind of shoehorning in with they had some fairly weak subclasses as well, right?
Oh, the Hunter and the Beastmaster are 2 of the worst out there.
Right. So yeah, it's a very lateral move to me. I like Natural Explorer, and if I'm playing with a certain DM, then yes, I will probably take Natural Explorer. If I'm playing with a DM who I know is going to want to do that and like keeps track of carrying capacity and ammunition, right? That's the guy I'm going to make a Natural Explorer to. If it's a more combat tactics focused campaign, Deft Explorer any day, right? Mm-hmm. I like what they've done with Ranger. But like I said, the problem with Ranger was never really the base class, in my opinion. The problem with Ranger was always the subclasses, and then they overcompensated with them, in my opinion, in some respects. But like the Gloomstalker and Horror Eyes.
Yeah, but all those are front loaded, and they needed to overcompensate because it was such a weak basic architecture, right?
I think they should have gone with less Ranger features and more subclass features.
Well, the problem with that is how often the Ranger archetype is built into the level progression on that table in the player's handbook.
Yeah.
Right? Because it'll say you get your Ranger archetype or your conclave or whatever it is. And it builds from there, right? And so they also want some things to just be standard, all Rangers get it. And they couldn't come up with a way to have it be combat and animals and spells and terrain.
Yeah.
There's so much they're trying to do with Ranger that I feel like they...
In previous editions, you had Rangers going up against Rogues as the most versatile class in the game.
Yep.
I think they attempted to do that with 5e and then didn't support the exploration pillar enough to make Rangers that.
Yeah.
Also, the concentration mechanic really hit the Rangers hard, whereas Rogues don't give a fuck.
And I will say this again. Yeah. You can be, if you are out there looking to do shit tons of damage as a ranged martial class, you are further ahead being a fighter that takes the archery fighting style.
Yes.
If you want to be a better explorer and still do a shit ton of damage, but get a lot of the feel of a ranger, it doesn't take much to take scout, the rogue subclass.
Yeah.
And then cross or multi-class over.
Yeah.
And pick up a couple of low-level things for spells. Or
take the Outlander background.
Right. And all you have to do is multi-class into Druid for either one of those options, and bam, you're a ranger.
Yeah.
And potentially a better ranger than builds stock, right?
Yeah.
But there's one clearly glaring omission in all of this shit. And we're going to jump into it in just a moment. But first...
Hey everybody, so we would love to have you join the conversation with us. You can find us at Instagram, Facebook, and at r/It's a Mimic on Reddit. We also love to take mailbag questions. You can ask us literally anything, except for Adam, because apparently he doesn't want to take questions anymore. So please...
No, that's accurate. I don't want to... I take so many questions all of the time.
But we will answer literally anything. And I would love to have some questions because I like to feel like I'm famous.
And it's okay if you specifically ask specific people specific questions. So if you want to specifically talk to Dan about the quality and texture of a scrotum, you can single him out. Now, others may jump in and have opinions. God knows Brad will. But...
Brad does love
so
scrotums.
And Terry. Yeah, I mean, we know who the Scrote Bros are on this show. But... We're not going to get the t-shirts made?
That's not, no.
Yeah. It's just going to have one and then the other, and it's like two of a kind?
I do have some veto power. I do have some veto power.
No, I'm going to make them dice bags. Anyway, send us questions and send us dice bags that say Scrote Bros on them for Terry and
Or
Brad.
just look like scrotums.
Or just look like scrotums.
Yeah, if you have any art suggestions for us, you can definitely let us know. You can
Time for a risky Google.
Yeah. You can let us know at info@itsamimic.com, or we also have a subreddit.
And Instagram and Facebook and all that shit. So.
Hit us up anywhere.
Yeah.
We are all over the place.
I still check YouTube comments.
Yeah.
God, I still check YouTube comments.
You're doing God's work.
that God is not present on YouTube. I will tell you that right now. The God of what, Kyle? Fuck.
The devil? The devil's work? So I'm going to quickly go over the Beastmaster from the PHP. It's basically the subclass you take when Find Familiar just isn't enough for you and you find Dominate Beast to just be too mean. At level 3, you get Ranger's Companion, which allows you to choose your beast buddy. It must be a medium or smaller creature and have a C1/4 CR rating. On your turn, you can tell it to move, but unless you spend an action to direct it what to do, it only takes the dodge action. If it dies, you can spend 8 hours bonding with a new beast that isn't hostile and meets the requirements. At 7th level, you get exceptional training. If the beast doesn't attack on your turn, you can use a bonus action to get it to take the dash, dodge, disengage, or help action. And its attacks now count as magical for the sake of overcoming resistances to non-magical damage. 11th level gets you Bestial Fury, where it can now take 2 attacks when commanded to attack, or use its multi-attack action if it has one. Finally, at 15th level, you get Share Spells, where if you target yourself with a spell and your beast is within 30 feet of you, it also receives the effect.
Ooh.
You can find deeper dive into this class if you're interested by checking out episode 42 on the YouTubes or other podcast apps.
I just gotta say, with the Share Spells, Zephyr Strike.
Ooh. All right.
Sure, but I mean, you're burning part of your turn for the beast to do his shit, and so I've already tuned out.
Yeah.
Again, when I'm a player, I want to do things, not be limited.
So with Beast Master Rangers, it is your action to command or your bonus action to command?
So, yeah, it's your action if you want it to attack. You can tell it to move without using any sort of action. But if you want it to attack, you have to give up your action to make it attack for you.
It specifically sits there and does nothing. It says you can use your action to verbally command it to take the action, dash, disengage, dodge, or help action. If you have the extra attack feature, you can make one weapon attack yourself and then command the beast to do the thing.
Yeah.
Who wants to give up that much?
Especially when you have summon spells that like just yell at it and it does a thing, right? No action required.
Yeah, so the Ranger's Companion sucks in the PHP.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Beastmaster is terrible here. So in Tasha's, it gives us an alternate option to the Ranger's Companion in an ability called Primal Companion, which replaces it. Rather than bonding with a wild animal, this time you instead draw on your connection to nature to summon a primal beast of the land, sea, or air, which Dan mentioned earlier. So they give you a spell for this ability, essentially, anyway.
Yeah.
Which, I don't know, doesn't sit well with me. But anyways, it will take an animal form of your choice, appropriate to the stat block, but will bear primal markings.
No, it's different. For the Beastmaster, they get these specific stat blocks.
Yeah.
For the spell, you don't choose from these stat blocks. You choose an animal that fits either a land animal or a sea.
Well, no. You get a stat block with the spell.
Right.
That has...
But it is not nearly as powerful.
No, not
as
nearly.
these.
No,
It's
it
a
is
super beefed up version.
It is a wispy fart compared to these things.
Okay. My mistake. So
There's so many fucking levels to this. That
yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, it will take an animal form of your choice appropriate to the stat block, but will bear primal markings alluding to its mystical origins.
Sure.
I wish they explained what that meant. Like, does it mean they are covered in ethereal claw marks, or is it like cave drawings, or is it runes? Like, what is a primal mark?
I think you had so many people who played World of Warcraft for so long that they're used to the idea of like just your animal having like some feathers in a spot, or like a rune in its fur design or something like that, right?
Yeah, look, flavor it the way you want to. The reason they didn't get specific with it is because you do you.
Yeah.
It's just flavor, so do it the way you want to do it.
Yeah.
I do like how you get pick whatever animal you want that fits to the land, sea, or air.
Yeah.
I mean, it still has to fit the, like, you can't be like, this is my beast of the sea, my blue whale. It's still medium, y'all.
Yeah.
Like,
That's okay. It's a youngling, right? But you're not restricted to the 1/4 CR rating.
yeah.
For what you can pick, right?
You just have to go with whatever these options are here.
Yeah. In combat, the creature uses your initiative like the Ranger's Companion can, and it can move on its own and use its own reaction, but still only takes the dodge action unless you use a bonus action this time.
That's better.
Right,
Yeah.
but remember, you needed to use an action to even get dodge. It stood there like a freaking dumb statue.
No, it automatically takes dodge.
This one does. The PHB one doesn't.
I'm pretty sure it does.
No, it specifically listed dodge as the thing you have to say.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, it says in the list, you can use your action to verbally command it.
To move.
To
with no
attack,
action required.
Attack, dash, disengage, dodge, or help. Right?
No, that's the second part. Okay, where is it? The beast obeys your commands as best it can. It takes its turn on your initiative. On your turn, you can verbally command the beast where to move, no action required by you. You can use your action to verbally command it to take the attack to... Where is it? I could have sworn I read it.
It's with the spells.
Are you thinking about summoning creatures? Because they automatically take the dodge action. Summoned creatures do.
If you don't issue a command, the beast takes the dodge action.
Where does it say that?
Bottom of the paragraph. Bottom of the second paragraph. Before if you were incapacitated.
Once you have the extra attack feature, you can make one weapon attack yourself. I don't have that.
Let's not spill water. Yeah.
Yes, removed from mine. When was yours published?
Yeah. August 2014? No. 10th printing, October 2018.
This is a first printing.
Okay.
So there you go. That dodge shit was added in later.
Yeah. Interesting.
So by default, in later editions, this is the second time we've stumbled upon this in a different reprinting. I'm trying to remember what the first one was, but
It was a while ago.
I raged in that episode about how stupid it was.
Yeah.
But it's interesting, depending on the version of the player's handbook that you have, or if you're going off of D&D Beyond, you could have different information. So double check on this. The Beastmaster Ranger's Companion in the player's handbook, by stock, the original printing said that if you did not command it with an action, then it just stood there and did nothing. But in
It got
reprints,
errated, and then in reprints,
Yeah.
they added the dodge. So this'll function like your spells do, where if you don't tell it to do anything, it's going to take the dodge action.
well, what's interesting here is that it's a little bit more in the in Tasha's, right? It says if you're incapacitated, the beast can take any action of its choice, not just dodge.
Yeah.
Right? So this is a better version again.
In Ranger's Companion in mine as well, though, it says if you're incapacitated, it can take any action of its own, but it's probably going to protect you and itself.
Yeah, which makes sense. This is your nature's friend, right? So, this animal, depending on what it is, depending on whether you're running the new Beastmaster Companion, which you should be. This is just generally
absolutely.
better.
Yeah.
These animals are far more powerful than whatever random CR quarter
Yeah.
creature you're going to pull out of your
And you can also command it with a bonus action rather than a full action.
Yeah, but like these things are also just more powerful.
Yeah.
They've got more hit points. They've got more armor. They're just beefier.
Yeah.
And they scale, and
Special abilities as well.
they've got a really cool way of scaling too. It uses their AC is 13 plus a proficiency bonus,
Cool. Yeah.
right? So it's your proficiency bonus. Theirs is the same as yours.
Yeah.
So as you get higher levels, their AC goes up and up and up.
Yeah.
Right? Up to a total of 19, which is what you want at high levels, right? So and there's all sorts of good shit about its scaling like that, and all three of the different kinds do that, right?
Yeah, they do. I also like that you can revive it by expending a first level spell slot or higher. It takes a minute for it to come back, rather than spending 8 hours magically bonding with a new beast. Because you first have to find the new beast to bond. Is it going to be the right one? Is it going to meet the requirements?
Is there a time limit to that with the new Beast Commander?
For
Or
this
new Beast
one,
Companion?
at the end of a long rest, you summon a new one.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can choose to summon a new one.
Yeah.
You can also use rests, short rests to heal them up as well.
Yeah.
So,
So is there a big difference between the three, land, sea, and sky?
not a whole lot until you get to the actions. The beast of the sea and the land, they share the same health, hit die, AC is shared between all three of them. Stats are also the same between land and sea.
So their speed is different, obviously. Sky can fly, sea can swim, and land can climb.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a little bit of differences with the mechanic, like the numerical features here. But yeah, you're right. Until you get into the features,
Yeah.
there's not a big deal. But I mean, it's the features you would expect, right? Flyby for sky, amphibious for sea,
Yeah.
which seems a little weak compared to the others, but
But it gets a grapple ability based on your spell save DC, which is pretty great when it attacks.
right. But I'm talking just the feature, right? Flyby doesn't like for a sky, the beast doesn't provoke opportunity attacks when it flies out of reach.
Yeah.
But amphibious just means you can breathe air and water. Like you've already cast. You know what you're casting. Here it is, right?
Yeah.
And land.
It's not really a
gets
feature.
charge.
It should come standard with a sea creature.
Yeah, there should be something else in there. And because land has charge as well, so like it's attack shit for land and sky, but not for sea. Although, as we've said in previous episodes, aquatic shit is just more dangerous. And then the actions are they look pretty standard.
Yeah, 1d8 plus 3 slashing damage plus your proficiency bonus for the land, 1d6 plus 2 plus your proficiency bonus, piercing or bludgeoning damage, which is kind of fun for the sea, so you can flavor it a little more, and then 1d4 plus 3 slashing damage for the sky, also plus your proficiency bonus.
Yeah. Okay. So fun.
Yeah.
I like these. You know what's even better than this though is a sidekick, which we also got in Tasha's and actually levels up and is way more powerful than these things and can be an animal. You can just have it be a wolf. So you can have a wolf sidekick, a falcon beast of the sky companion for a Beastmaster, and then summon all that crazy shit as well.
Take a couple of levels on Warlock, be Pact of the Chain, get another familiar.
Oh yeah, you can be a little general that just drives everyone at the table nuts.
At 4th level from one of them, grab a actual familiar. So you just have your familiar, you have your Pact of the Chain, you have your animal companion, and you have your sidekick.
Oh yeah, great. Your GM will definitely hate you.
No, actually, you know what? Here, if you want to do that, play a solo campaign. That is how you play a solo campaign.
Yeah.
That's not how I would play a solo campaign.
No,
I'm gonna be a bard. Just get my fucking.
I'm only allowing that kind of shenanigan if it is a one-on-one campaign.
Would you allow my bard shenanigans?
No.
Well, then fuck you and grab your dice. We're rolling. I rolled a nat 20.
Fitting.
17.
You know, it allows with a 15, Dan. Okay, is this update enough to make the Beastmaster a more playable subclass?
Fuck no. Sorry, it's not my turn. Adam?
Yes. More playable, yes.
Oh, more playable. Okay, yeah.
Playable? No. I'm still picking one of the others. More playable? Sure. Look, there will be some people that just are new. They want to have the Ranger experience. They want to try it out for the first time. They've read the player's handbook and they fall in love with it, and their DM says, oh, hop on D&D Beyond and look at the optional variant features. Sure, fine. If you're going to commit to it, do your damnedest. You do you. I'm not going to say it's bad. I'm not going to play this class.
No.
I got way better options out there. This is, of the 105 classes or whatever ridiculous shit is out there, this is in the 90s for sure. Better than the Purple Dragon Knight from last episode.
The Purple Dragon Knight. So hard. Oh my god. It is my least favorite subclass.
Don't worry.
Of all.
That is a universal opinion.
Yeah.
Anyways, Kyle.
Oh my god.
More viable?
More playable? Yes, obviously.
It would have to be.
Yeah. It's more flavor. It's got more opportunities to do things. It's less stupid in its commands.
Honestly, this went from being the third worst subclass for me to being 15th worst. It bumped us up from F tier to E tier.
Yeah.
Right?
You get a passing grade. It's a C minus.
Yeah. C's get degrees.
I still wouldn't give this thing a passing grade.
No, so not even.
Honestly, you're right. Is it an improvement over the PHB version? Yes. Is it still playable? No. However, I know of a lot of players who want to start and get that Ranger experience like you were saying, which is including an animal companion. And if I am to be completely honest, as a DM, I'm just giving you a sidekick and suggesting taking a different subclass.
Yeah.
If I'm going to be honest, this should have been baked into the base Ranger class in the fucking first place.
I agree.
100%. That's just me. Now, role-playing with an animal. How do you guys feel about it?
It's not my turn.
Yeah, it's you.
I don't know, man. I role-play with every animal because I'm the fucking forever DM. So, like, I don't have a frame of reference on this. I can't think of the last time I was a player going, I really wish I could talk to dogs and shit, man. I'm the guy that's like, oh, you want a talking dog? What breed? You guys can't see the jerk-off motion, but here it is.
Yeah.
Anyways, Kyle.
I mean, if we're going with this new
Yeah.
updated subclass, none, right? It knows your languages, but it doesn't speak. And it's a primal beast made of magic that has no real thoughts.
Well, that's not quite true. I will tell you right now that this thing is going to be at the very least as intelligent as whatever the creature is.
All of them have a negative intelligence.
Yeah, but every beast has a negative intelligence. They're
I've
still
played
smarter
several
than other beasts.
barbarians that have negative intelligences.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think...
And do they have much interesting to say?
Okay.
No, do not open that. Do not open that the can of
The
worms.
answer to that question is definitely yes.
All right, I will tell you this. Every one of them has a -1, so they have 8 to intelligence. That, my friend, is sentience.
Oh,
in D&D.
I've played creatures with far less intelligence than that.
Shit, you are one. So...
Rough.
That's the sound a dog makes, Dan. You learned something today. Anyways...
That's an expensive computer in front of you. Don't spit that beer out there, Kyle.
Anyway, I believe there's absolutely role-playing opportunities here. I have seen enough people in my own personal life that have pets that they 100% interact with, and these creatures are at least 5 times as smart as those pets.
One of the highlights of our last campaign was an animal companion.
Oh, Zoltan?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you think about Zale with the little squid that lived in his... There's a miniature little squid that lived in his eyeball.
Yeah.
He was a water genasi.
No, there's a comic like that where it's a sentient worm that lives inside like dead bodies
Yeah.
and it controls them. Like it's a zombie controlled by a little worm that lives in inside. I think it's called Wormwood.
Yeah, that's absolutely what it is, which is a fantastic series, by the way.
Yeah.
But, and yeah, there's absolutely opportunities for role-playing here. If you were stacking up sidekicks and animal companions and shit, do not make your DM play Dr. Doolittle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? Unless they've signed up for it. Like, talk to your DM. That's what I have to say. Dan?
My response is like every single DM, and there's no animal companion that I can't make it go away for a session with Fireball.
Sure, although these ones are going to last maybe to the second Fireball.
Okay, 2 Fireballs.
Yeah.
Sure, I'm not going to go killing animal companions because that's a special level of cruel. I'm going to do that only when I can't help it. Like, for example,
Yeah,
the volcano is exploding and you're failing your saves.
These are battle companions, right?
Yeah,
like
they
they
are.
are meant to be fighting with you side by side. Like
You should
rushing
really be playing with flanking rules if you're going to play a Beastmaster. We should say that too.
Yeah.
Talk to your DM about the variant flanking rules that are in the DMG. Are there any final inspirations before we wrap up this long episode about a terrible class?
Remember, you could give your pets gear.
Yeah, barding exists.
Well, barding exists, but also in, I think it's Xanathar's, I'm digging from memory right now, but there is a slot checklist of what slots an animal can have for like magic items as well, and use for magical items. So when you are committing to the player character with their friendly furry friend off to the side, then look into what magical items you could give them. I want
circlet of human perfection.
well it
I know that one is, yeah.
the big one for me is if you have an animal companion, if it was standing in a line with other animals of its type, it should be distinctive. It should be unique. It should have personality. And if you are not offering personality as the beast hunter, the Beastmaster hunter, then Ranger, it is going to. I play World of Warcraft. It is going to be on the DM to do that, and that is just another perpetual player inserted NPC that a DM has to manage, and that's too much. So if you are playing this, you have to do the legwork and have a unique personality. And I'm not saying your dog pisses on everybody's backpacks during the long rest. Don't be an antagonist, because I've seen that shit a lot.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely. Like people will try to get fucky with this. Don't do that. Remember, collaborative storytelling.
Yeah.
This is not a contest.
Exactly.
So that's all for this discussion on Rangers for now. We've got a lot more ground to cover with lots of other classes and subclasses. So subscribe or follow and check back regularly to see what inspirations and insights we'll have for you in the future. Next week, we'll be exploring an often overlooked kind of enemy that DMs usually rely on more and more as they create homebrew worlds.
Thanks for listening to another episode of the It's a Mimic podcast. If you'd like to support us, we have a donate button on our website at www.itsamimic.com, as well as a store for some awesome merch. We also rely on word of mouth to get the news of the podcast out to the community, so please pass the word to everyone that you know that we're available on iTunes, Spotify, and YouTube, as well as most podcast apps. Thank you guys again for listening to the It's a Mimic podcast, where you never know what you're going to get. Also, check the editions of your books.
This has been an It's a Mimic production. Inquiries, requests, and questions for our mailbags can be sent to info@itsamimic.com.
Okay, so if you guys could take any wild animal, domesticate it, and then make it dog-sized, what would you take?
That last little one threw me for a loop. I'm like, okay, I got it. Wait, make it dog-sized. Okay, I need clarity. The size of a dog varies wildly.
A medium-sized dog, let's say border collie size.
Border collie size. Let's roll it.
No, thank you.
Natural 20 for me. Shit.
I got an 11. All right.
I was really hoping. So, peek behind the curtain. Whenever we roll these dice, sometimes we aren't prepared with an answer, and you hope for a low roll so that other people can go first.
Well, it's funny. You landed on a 20, then Kyle hit you and knocked you back onto a 20.
Yeah.
So this is fate. Dan, what is it?
So,
First animal that comes to mind. 3, 2, 1, go.
octopus.
That's a pretty good answer, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're smart as fuck.
They're
dude.
smart as fuck. The size of a dog would be terrifying.
Aren't some
but
of them
They
also
are pretty much the size of a dog.
not the size of a border collie.
Yeah, that's pretty big. All right. An amoeba.
An amoeba.
For the same reasons.
For the same reason.
Apparently, Adam and I both just like pseudopods.
You're goddamn right I do.
I didn't think about going bigger. So now...
Blue whale.
Yeah, I was thinking like taking a polar bear at first, but now, what is that thing that can survive basically anything?
Oh, tardigrade.
Tardigrade.
No. I watched Star Trek Discovery where they have one of those that's the size of an actual bear.
Yeah.
The water bear is the size of an actual bear, and it's fucking terrifying. So I don't want any part of it. Have you, like, the anus for a face aside, the claws on those things. You think a cat fucks up your curtains? No, man.
No thanks.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, how domesticated are we talking with these animals?
It's
Like,
not
are we-
gonna kill you.
Are we talking animal companion or...
Like dog or cat?
Yeah, dog.
Okay, so like legitimately friendly, and you can yell at it to stop, and it will.
Yeah.
Without.
Oh yeah, then
ripping your face off.
tardigrade would probably be okay.
I mean, I guess dogs can make a fucking mess. That we have entire websites about shaming them for doing exactly the thing you want them not to do. So.
Yeah, I mean, I just think it would be funny to have a tardigrade. I would actually want something fuzzy though, because I
Like an amoeba. You have a little cilia and shit.
Yeah, it's so weird.
Adam just wants hairy tentacles. Is basically all it is.
It's just Adam and his hairy tentacles.
That's gonna give me nightmares.
Or dreams. There's someone on Etsy selling kangaroo scrotum dice bags
Oh,
with authentic kangaroo scrotums.
Oh my god.
I will give a direct shout out to anybody that sends one of those for Terry and Brad. Contact me for a fucking mailing address. All right, Kyle.
We should not give out mailing addresses.
Oh no, we give a damn. It's fine.
1, pardon? 2, 2. The company name is Kangaroo Sacks.
I wish they did it with like
one word.
No, I wish it was yak scrotums. So it could be yakety sacks.
Oh, that would be good.
Oh my god, that's legit a scrotum you just showed me, Dan.
Yeah.
Is that yours?
That's somebody's.
It's
I've got
detached and lying on a table.
I've got a
Oh
library.
my god,
of
I
pictures.
wish mine was detachable sometimes. When like
Why?
that full heat of summer.
Oh my god, we're not going to get into it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Brought to you by Manscaped. Take us away, Kyle. Take us away from this shit.
Beer went down the wrong tube.
Thanks for listening. Bye.